Two exclusions apply while supplies last. Selection varies by location. See Lowe's.com for details.
Staples has big savings on everything you need for back to school or stocking up the office. Save on signs, banners, and posters from Staples Print and Marketing Services. Save on everything you need for travel, like luggage, tech, and travel-sized personal items. Plus, save on all your school essentials, from notebooks to markers. Now at Staples, you can save even more with $25 back in rewards on your in-store purchase of $75 or more. Get everything for the office and the classroom for less at Staples. Ends 8/5. Redeemable in-store only. Rewards members only.
Twin Peaks is the best in the game. Here, your favorite drafts are poured at a frosty 29 degrees, and rare barrel-aged whiskeys are served just the way you want them. It's bigger game days and bolder fight nights. I mean, where else can you find a scratch kitchen that always comes in clutch? Every day, from lunch to late night. Only at Twin Peaks, the #1 sports bar.
Stick around after the sun sets. Twin Peaks is open really late. Wind down with bourbon and late-night bites.
Chiefs coverage on 610 Sports Radio is brought to you by Park & Go. Book parkandgo.com.
Getting ready to go on vacation can be stressful. Lucky for us, there's Park & Go. Easy online reservation, free instant shuttles, luggage assistance, and all spots are covered. Reserve your spot today at bookparkandgo.com. The best deals in airport parking. Park & Go, family owned and operated.
You're listening to 610 Sports Radio from the Max Motors Studios. Last year, Pete Sweeney was accused of cheating.
I'm putting you hot. You're going to be hot.
This year, he's been disqualified for competing. So come join us for 610 Day at the K and watch the drama unfold on Tuesday, August 29th. 610 Sports Radio, KCSP Kansas City, WDAF HD2 Liberty. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
Welcome to my house. Baby, take control now. We can't even slow down.
All right, it's Cody and Gold here. I am actually in Kansas City. Cody's up in St. Joseph for Chiefs training camp. I actually had the video stream pulled up so I can see Cody. It's kind of, he can't see me, but I can see him. I'm the one that just got back from Chicago. He's wearing looks like a Chicago t-shirt. You can correct me if I'm wrong, but
it's from the Negro Leagues, but yes,
Okay.
a Chicago Giants t-shirt is what you see me in. Yeah.
Okay, I got you. Yeah, for those that are wondering why we're in two different spots, well, obviously there were some thunderstorms that came through both Kansas City and St. Joe, and to make sure we could actually be on the air, one of us, Cody, went up there. I went to KC. They ended up actually having practice outdoors today, which is good news because that means a little bit later on, potentially this hour, if not early next hour, Cody, Trent McDuffie is expected to join us exclusively here on 610 Sports Radio. But you're live in the Ag Power broadcast tent where you can score big this year with your home team, John Deere dealer, Ag Power. Visit agpower.com for more.
You know, we were trying to decide which of us would go up, right? Who goes up if we're not sure if we're going to get a show? And we decided the person who's currently driving the vehicle for Max Motors, right?
Yes.
I'm currently driving the F-150, so why not be me, right? Their mileage. I also live a little bit closer to St. Joe. And here's the truth, JT. We didn't want to leave you hanging. Because what would have happened is if we come up here and we weren't sure, and then all of a sudden it gets rained down and it's 9:05, you would have been wondering if we were going to be in our seat, ready to talk on the air at 10, which I guess at this point we would have turned out fine, but we didn't want to run the risk and just put JT, the intern, who was already asked to do enough, I think, Gold, into a precarious situation.
No question, man. No, what's the scene there? Because I'll be honest, it kind of sounds like it's kind of nice now. It's not 100 and something degrees. It looks like it's nice. And also, what's going on today? It's a shorter practice, right? This is a pretty quick practice for fans that made the trip up.
Yeah, it is. So first, yes, this is. If you would have just braved the initial rain, this is the nicest day of camp so far. It's like 75 degrees. I'm not cold or hot, and it's overcast. I'm in sunglasses because my new glasses aren't here, and these are prescription, so I can still see the field if I have them on. So until my new glasses actually arrive, the sunglasses even in the overcast weather to make sure that I can see. But, yeah, it's kind of a shorter practice. The same players who were here or who were missing yesterday are missing again today. So, obviously, no Chris Jones, no Dana, no Turk Warden, no Jody Fortson, no Kadarius Toney, kind of the people you would have expected at this. But, honestly, I wonder a little bit if this outdoor stuff, like they were on the fence and the weather ended up being okay, but it's like they had a couple of injuries indoors the other day, Gold. Right. You got to kind of wonder if for the rest of camp, they're like, I don't think so. We would rather just be outside, be on the grass. And they've practiced through rain before, so that's not out of the question. It's usually a question of lightning, right? Like, is that going to be an issue at some point? Because if it's not that, then I think they're more than happy to just practice outdoors.
They definitely prefer the outdoor practice for obvious reasons. And yes, the playing surface is part of it, but
you
they
also
are
play outdoors.
Yeah, no question. And they're outdoors today, and practice potentially could get over a little earlier. So again, expected to have Trent McDuffie join us a little bit later on. Also today at the podium, you'll have guys like Steve Spagnuolo, Felix and Udike Uzama, Rashee Rice, and Drew Tranquil. So we'll bring you some of that today as well as we continue our Chiefs training camp coverage here on 610 Sports Radio, brought to you by Twin Peaks Eats, Drinks, and Scenic Views. The only other thing that I was wondering from up there at this point is what's the crowd like overall? Because the last show you and I did, there was the largest crowd at camp. There was 10,000 people. Today, as you said, it's not hot, but it's a Monday, and maybe the storm scared some people off.
So there were 11,000, I was told, on Saturday. It is honestly, great crowd. That back hill, Alex, probably isn't as full as it normally is, but the entire bleachers that are normally to the right of us are full. The whole big row of bleachers on the far side of the field are full. The hill, the closest one to, like where the players practice, is full. So I don't think I've gotten a breakdown of the number, but honestly, as good of a crowd as we've seen outside of that one that was borderline the biggest of camp so far. I would say that this is one of the bigger crowds we've seen.
All right, so make sure you head up there to camp throughout the week. You can reserve tickets up on the Chiefs website as well. Looking at this offense, and right now we know Kadarius Toney not going to be available for a while. Jody Fortson out with a shoulder injury as well. But we were talking off air a little bit about the picture of a top 5 offense, and you and I go back and forth all the time, like, hey, how are the wide receivers going to do? But at the end of the day,
we both agree.
They're both going to be. We both agree they're going to be a top 5 offense. At this point, though, if they're not a top 5 offense, then something terribly went wrong, right? To me, it's not just that the wide receivers didn't produce the way I think eventually they will, and you think they eventually will. To me, it would mean that somebody like Travis Kelce wasn't available for a chunk of the season, or something happened at the quarterback spot. Other than that, I do believe, and it's faith in Mahomes and Andy Reid, that this offense is top 5 rolling the ball out there this year. I know that's not as easy as that for those guys, but I can say that at least from the outside.
Well, I think I don't see it happening, but I was asking myself this question last night as I was sitting there, which is, okay, we all think that the wide receivers matter, but, only to a point because Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes. So then what constitutes we're sitting here at the end of the year and we say it's a disappointing year offensively? Anything outside of the top 5 is unacceptable because it means you did it to yourself, in my opinion. Yeah, Gold, maybe there's an injury that does it, but when, Chiefs have had injuries before, people have missed time before, and it didn't stop them from being a top 5 offense, it means you chose not to have the depth. You didn't go after the wide receivers. You didn't take those things. You finished 6th or 7th. It's a disappointing year offensively. Probably every year with Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid, but certainly this year because you would have self-imposed this decision, right? You would have said, well, we're willing to pay Juju Smith-Schuster, but not that much. Or, well, we're willing to pay Odell Beckham, but not that much, right? Any of the guys that would have come up in these conversations, including DeAndre Hopkins or any other free agent that might have been available, you had a choice to overspend or just spend what the market was dictating at that time. You chose not to. You spent a second-round pick on a wide receiver, but, you didn't jump up to the top of the draft to add someone immediately, which to me means if you finish outside the top 5, I'm calling this a disappointment. We sit here on Week 17, and they're the 6th-ranked offense. Things went wrong. You thought you had more weapons on offense than you thought you did. You should be able to survive one injury with Mahomes and Reid the way we talk about them, Gold, and still be a top 5 offense.
Yeah, again, that's the thing. I don't believe they're outside the top 5 unless you told me the guy that we deep down know really is the number 1 wide receiver that solves these issues and questions year after year about the wide receiver room. It's Travis Kelce. If he's still the same Travis Kelce, and he's healthy, and he's not breaking a hand in case he punches someone again at practice this week or something like that, then I think they'll be fine.
Well, we can talk about that in a little bit. You know what it is? When we get to the Kelce thing, I think it's just the heat. I think it's like anybody. You're just angrier because it's so hot.
The heat
just mad about how hot it is.
Yeah, the heat will piss you off. It really will. It'll put you in a bad. If you're hungry and if you're hot, all right. If one of those two things, we know it. We've all been there. It doesn't put you in a great mood. Let alone when you got pads on as well. So I'm assuming that's what occurred with him and Cochran over the weekend. That it's so funny though because I was sitting in our bullpen area here in the studio and our news station KMBZ. They're doing news reports and they're updating. They're like, "We'll tell you what happened when at Chiefs camp over." Like, it's just funny to me because I don't think it's all that big of a deal, but it is. It's been made into a much bigger deal than probably what it is. It's just surprise. I guess it's surprising surprising, right, that Travis Kelce was the player that did it. That's
he
what
might
it is.
be the only injury, Gold, or like, I don't know, maybe Jawan Taylor. Like, there's only a couple of injuries where I'd be like, okay, I'll let you off the hook because you're sixth, right? But it's really just like Kelce or like a top tackle, not even Smith, because when you signed him, you took your own risks there. And you can't be like, well, they didn't have Tony. Let's say Tony missed a month or something crazy, which he's not expected to now, but let's say he missed a month. I'm like, you signed an injured wide receiver. It's your job to put out a top 5 offense regardless of what the talent is. And everyone wants to tell me all the time about how it doesn't matter who any of the wide receivers are, they'll be that good. Okay, well then if you finish 7th, it's a disappointing year, and now you know something about yourself, which is the wide receivers don't have to be 7 superstars, but they got to be better than this. Right? And so much of this is dictated by who steps up, who plays better, and all of these things. But I was just thinking about, like, I don't think there's any excuse outside of that number for me, Gold. If you are 6th, 7th, that is a disappointing year, and it's going to require your defense to take a real leap forward.
There you go. Right there. That's the thing, because if you're trying to figure out, well, what does it actually mean for the team as a whole? Well, if the defense is actually what they're discussing their goal is, which is a top 10 efficiency defense, and we'll talk to Trent McDuffie about this later, and they're talking about that they have something to prove, which is some of the things that McDuffie had said about a week or so ago. If all that actually happens and they are a 10 or 11 or 12 defense in football, then, yeah, it gives you a little bit of wiggle room. It still tells you it doesn't change how we've discussed the offense, but it gives you some wiggle room in terms of what can you accomplish still as an organization this year. Can they still be a team that goes to a Super Bowl if they're the 7th best offense, but their defense takes massive strides? Well, yeah, obviously. I think the answer is yes to that.
Well, and they could be the 7th best for 17 weeks, and then, Mahomes might just turn it on in the postseason. I wouldn't even rule it out, but, it's harder, It's like the amount of mistakes you're allowed to make are so much fewer. Because every other year or so, the Chiefs will have one of these more mistake-prone teams where they give it away way more than they take it away, and you're like, that is kind of sloppy, and like the wide receivers make too many drops and fumbles, and it just seems a little messier, but it never seems to impact them because they have a top scoring offense. So when 8 times you touch the ball, you put points on the board, then it doesn't really matter, right? You just kind of get right back into that rhythm. But this will be, and we've already agreed, even though the offensive line, at least to date, maybe later down the road he won't have wide receivers and no offensive line, I don't know. But to date, this will be the single biggest test they've made with pieces around him. That's why you have to put him to that kind of standard because, hell, even with Alex Smith, they were a top 10 offense. So, every year, Alex,
No, when Andy Reid's your head coach, that automatically gets you to a certain level, just plain and simple, because of his talent as an offensive mind. That automatically gets you there, and then you factor in the best quarterback in football, and that's why we sit here and say, and this is why I along with Travis Kelce, I believe that this offense basically rolling the ball out there can be a top 5 offense, and I also believe that there'll be some of these guys that do emerge. Not all 3, not saying Sky Moore, Rashee Rice, and Kadarius Toney, but I find it hard to believe that at least one of those guys we keep talking about doesn't have somewhat of a breakout type of season. Doesn't mean they're a 1,000-yard receiver, but a breakout type of season, massive strides taken, not to mention guys like Richie James, who I saw just caught a touchdown pass, it looks like, with some video that was tweeted out.
Quick update, by the way. Tommy Townsend has left practice with what looks like an ankle injury. During a punt, he kind of stepped weird, maybe rolled it over.
Get out there, Cody.
Then they took him to the medical tent. They looked at him for a minute, and then he went up the hill on the cart. So we'll see what happened to old Tommy Townsend.
It's your time. It's your time to shine.
They're still working on special teams. Who is the backup punter?
I don't think
doing it right now.
Justin Reed, right? He can do everything, right?
Who's punting it for the purposes of practice? It appears to be Harrison Butker.
That makes sense.
Well, that is the logical transition. You want me to tell you how good of a punter he is? Let's see.
Just don't punt.
Right,
I think that's the key. Just don't punt anymore.
He takes the snap. Harrison back.
Riveting.
Nope, just fake. Just fake punt. He didn't punt it. He just held it down. He's just taking the snaps for the pretend blocking part. Sorry. Thought for sure we were going to get an actual Harrison Butker punt, and I was going to update you, Gold, but no. Instead, he will just take the snap.
Hopefully it's a little minor ankle tweak. Here's the worst. Just don't punt. Just run plays constantly. Even if it was a game. At practice, it's really simple. You just don't punt.
Well, we've seen Justin Reed place kick. What are, does he have any punting skills? Do we need to go back to that from last year and maybe see if he's got a couple of other skill sets?
We can ask McDuffie. We can ask McDuffie how his punting, if need be, in a pinch.
They might score 45 points a game if they just didn't punt anymore.
Yeah,
because how many 4th and 9s would Mahomes convert? 50, 60%?
It'd be a high percentage.
Yes.
It'd definitely be a high percentage. So we'll see if there's an update on that. Obviously, hope that it's just something very, very minor, precautionary. And the one thing with the cart thing we always have to put in perspective, 99% of the time they take the cart anyway because it's a nice little haul, man. It's not a little short walk. So whether it's the most even if you have to, it could be the most minor thing, and you take the cart up the hill. So it doesn't always mean that they're not physically capable of doing it.
It's like if you've just never been at Camp Gold, it's a very big hill. They're not going to make anybody who might be slightly injured walk up it.
Exactly.
It's like, we're not doing that.
We'll talk some more Chiefs football coming up in just a little bit from Chiefs camp. Obviously, training camp coverage brought to you by St. Joseph Convention and Visitors Bureau. Be a part of history by attending Chiefs training camp. Learn more at stjomo.com. But do want to talk some Royals baseball. The trade deadline for baseball is tomorrow afternoon. And we saw the Royals, of course, make a move yesterday. Nicky Lopez, now a member of the Atlanta Braves. They trade Nicky Lopez. The player they get back is Taylor Hearn, okay? He's a pitcher, been in the league for a little bit. He's bounced around a little bit. He's 28 years old. Certainly not somebody that anybody's going to get all that excited about. We shall see if he ever turns out to be anything more than what he's been for other organizations, and that has resulted in him being DFA'd earlier this season, as a matter of fact, by the Texas Rangers after agreeing to a one-year contract. He was designated for assignment on July 19th, and then the Atlanta Braves were involved in that trade for him. And then obviously now the Atlanta Braves have traded him to Kansas City for Nicky Lopez. And the reaction, man, were you surprised by the reaction? Because I'm not surprised that Nicky Lopez got traded. He was someone that we've discussed probably being on the block, not getting a lot of playing time anyway, didn't probably make a whole lot of sense for long-term plans for the organization. But I saw a lot of frustration because it sounded like people just wanted a A-ball lottery ticket instead of a guy that looks like probably isn't going to be anything. Is that fair?
Look, count me in that camp.
Yeah.
I hate it. I just don't like this trade. The upside on Taylor Hearn is pretty much non-existent.
Right.
How often is there upside in a guy who's been in the major leagues for 5 years, has an ERA over 5, and was available for cash 2 weeks ago? You could have just had him. Like, you could have just paid for him. And I think that is the thing that drives fans crazy, is that 2 weeks ago, if you really liked Taylor Hearn, Alex, you could have just paid for him. And he could have been here, and he would have been your player the same as if you just traded for him, and he would have been here, and then you could have still gotten your A-ball, Dominican Summer League, 18-year-old kid with just promise and one good curveball and see what happens. And I think that is the fan frustration, and honestly, reasonably so. Like, the trade doesn't make sense unless it signifies something that is concerning to me, which is, if they go after a guy like Taylor Hearn, it signifies to me their desire to win, like, next year. And you're like, are you sure? Are you sure you can take that leap from where you were? Because, like, what is the long-term plan with Taylor Hearn?
Yeah, so one, I think no matter what, we talked about this, you got to still fill out a roster for 20, and even a rotation for 2024. So we've discussed that. It may not be pretty, but you still have to fill out rotations and all that. I'm not excited about Taylor Hearn. I'm with you. It doesn't do anything for me. And yeah, they essentially got nothing. What it tells me though is I think this move ended up being more about the future salary-wise for Nicky Lopez, which might also upset some fans as well, because Nicky Lopez wasn't playing a whole lot. Going to probably have to pay him over $5 million next year through arbitration if you would have continued to bring him back. Yeah. So maybe they would have non-tendered him. So A, you would have got nothing for him, or you'd be paying a guy X amount of money to continue to ride your bench because you're giving guys like Samad Taylor or Michael Massey more playing time than Nicky Lopez at this point. So I think that's based on what you said with Taylor Hearn being available, which is true. On July 19th, if they really liked him, they could have claimed him. They decided not to. So to me, that means the only thing in this trade with the Braves is that you found a team that, yes, you're getting a player back that you maybe did like a week ago, but also you're freeing up money. That's the only explanation that makes any sort of sense to me.
And look, if you're just freeing up the money because you're planning a big off-season signing, Gold, guess what? I'm cool. Yeah. We're good. I get it. You want to free up money because you're like, and look, Nicky is a valuable player, but he can't hit, right? I mean, Nicky's a great clubhouse guy. He's a great defender. He can play multiple positions. All of those things are good. He can't hit. And he wasn't getting on the field. So I'm not telling you, I'm not going to come on this airway and overvalue Nicky Lopez in your brain where you're like, they should have gotten the world for Nicky. No, that's not the case. That's not his market, especially Gold, as you've mentioned, for what he's being paid. But this better be leading to something.
Right.
Otherwise, it feels like, and I'm sure that they're going to make this argument for like Jonathan Sanchez and Jeremy Guthrie when it felt like you were trading, trash for trash, right? Where it's like, we're trading you our utility infielder who's not playing in a utility role all that often and can't hit very well, and we're giving you the 29-year-old who we just picked up and hasn't performed at the major league level in 3 years.
Yeah, this goes back to the either the organization, in this case, not the organization, but sometimes fan base, sometimes organizations overvalue certain players.
This was not the case here.
It was not the case here. I know maybe the fan base slightly overvalued. I don't know. Nicky Lopez. I think again the frustration comes with what they got back in return. That a lot based on your timeline that you pointed out with this team and how competitive can they be in 24 versus 26 or whatever. It's that hey, you almost would have rather taken a lottery ticket for 8 ball.
Yes.
That's what I'm hearing from a lot of people, and I guess I get that. I have no issue with him being traded because the guy wasn't playing. Now, the part that actually surprised me was this morning, though. Josh Vern, our Royals insider, who will join us later this week, he was on with Fesco and Kling. Listen to what Vern had to say about maybe Nicky Lopez not being all in with his current role with the Royals as well.
To me, Nicky right now, not even right now, he hasn't been all in on his role for quite a while. Not that it was a major issue, not that it was dragging the team down. They're already 43 games below 500, but if the Royals are going to get to where they need to be, you got to be all in for it. You got to understand what's going on this year, next year, and then into 2025. And I understand why Nicky wouldn't be all in on his role. He wants to play every single day. He had success in the World Baseball Classic playing every day, and he thought that was going to translate into the regular season. So I hope he finds a place to play every single day. Let's find out if a team actually gives him a chance to play every single day. Nicky looks around and says, hey, we stink. I'm better than some of these guys. I should be out there playing. So I understand why he never really bought in over the past 2.5 years. It's hard to buy in when you think the whole thing is kind of rigged against you. You see guys getting opportunities that you believe you're better than.
So I don't know how you took that, Cody. That was interesting to me based off of, like as you said, he's not saying Nicky's been a bad clubhouse guy. He's just saying that maybe, he thought he should have played more, right? And is a better player than just a utility guy, which, hey, by the way, can't blame Nicky Lopez for that whatsoever. Now, in Atlanta, he's got a chance to go win a world championship this year, and he's going to be a bench player that comes in as a defensive replacement and maybe at times does a little bit more than that. That's what he is probably going to be, I think, throughout his career. J.J. Piccolo talked to Vern yesterday as well, and it sounded like from J.J., he was mentioning how Matt Duffy acts, and he's like, I'm wondering how those conversations between Nicky Lopez and Matt Duffy have gone. It seems like there's some thought that maybe Nicky, like a lot of athletes, believes that he should have been playing a lot more and that was a tough pill to swallow, and maybe that also added to some of the reason that you could move him.
Well, and I get it, but and it's just, no fan is ever going to like it, and I don't like it, right? Like, I come from a fan perspective and from the media perspective. I hate it. I don't like it because – to me, it's like where you are, like when you're in the middle of a 110-loss season, I'm not in the mood for a player who might help you next year. I'm in the mood for, all right, they got a 16-year-old they just did like an international signing with last year, and they like him. Okay, I mean, he might turn into nothing either. I mean, pretty good chance, honestly, based on the way baseball works. And even if he turned into something, it might be 5 years from now. But I'm like, even if Taylor Hearn turns into something, what are the odds he is going, like, what percentage chance would Taylor Hearn be on this roster for a team that was above 500? Because it feels like 0.0005%. So then maybe 2% chance he's a piece worth trading to another team if he turns into that. And it's like, well, if you're doing that, then what were you trying to get out of that? A different major league guy or a guy in Double-A? Just like, it just feels like you're kind of lost. No, in my opinion, no regular winning organizations have ever made a trade like this. Like, I couldn't think of the Braves or like any of these teams that I value who do consistent winning. I can't remember them making a trade where they gave up a, sixth on their team in WAR, middle infielder who is a utility player who might play 90 games a year for you for a 29-year-old maybe relief pitcher.
Right, which is why I see that's how I think if you view it that way, I get it. I just viewed the trade as simply, hey, this is a guy that we didn't think was going to be part of our plans because he was going to be a backup infielder for us. We weren't going to give him playing time, and there might be $5+ million on the books every year. And so here's a team that's willing to take it. I mean, and I get that nobody wants to hear salary dump, but that's how I'm viewing the trade. Salary dump, okay, so go ahead and utilize, hopefully, that money. I get the skepticism, I totally do. But I'm not viewing the trade, oh my gosh, they traded Nicky Lopez for this 28-year-old pitcher that may or may not be anything. That's not how I'm viewing it. I'm viewing it as, okay, they traded a guy that wasn't going to play, freeing up some money. Hopefully they actually utilize that in the future.
Yeah, and again, if they go, I will hold off on the ultimate judgment of this deal until I see what they do with that $5-10 million in the offseason. They're more aggressive. Maybe there's something to be had there. But it's always hard because you and I have talked about the desire to want them to spend more money, and they do seem kind of far apart. And it's like getting this player at this moment, yeah, it does help you fill out the 26-man roster for next year. Safe to assume that if you trade for this guy and you give him Nicky Lopez in exchange for it and they take the money, then he's probably going to be on your roster next year, and you're going to see what you have in him. I'm just going to be, prepared for if he were to get DFA 9 months from now, right. Alex, it's like you could have just had the guy for cash. And what's hard is a $5 million salary dump. Fans are never going to accept that because you could have paid $2 million for this guy and kept Nicky at $7 million, and it's like you can't $7 million. You can't do that. But the Royals, because they know where they are from a winning perspective, aren't going to just throw resources at you. We've talked about this too. $5 million extra dollars on this team next year, this year, whatever. It was not going to solve the problem. So why not save up for a bigger ticket thing? Just as long as they pay it off in the end, I'm okay. But on paper, yeah, I do not like it.
Best of luck to Nicky Lopez, though. Has a chance to obviously go on a hell of a ride through October with the Atlanta Braves now, and we'll see if he could find himself in the World Series. Best team in baseball, of course, is the Atlanta Braves, who also look like the latest report, too, Cody, is that they're looking for back and bullpen help. I know a team. I know another team that might have a guy that can help you. So who knows? Maybe the Royals and Braves link up again for another trade. Cody's up in St. Joe for Chiefs training camp. I'm in Kansas City. Weather, obviously, setting that up for us today as we continue our training camp coverage. Brought to you by Max Motors. Worth the drive from anywhere. MaxMotors.com. There's a running back that's got an issue with his owner. He wants out. What does it actually mean in the grand scheme of things? Plus, there is someone that's looking more like a star as of late for the Royals.
You're listening to Cody and Gold.
You're clear, Cody.
Good. And everyone knows it.
Brought to you by Gann Asphalt and Concrete. For asphalt, concrete, and parking lot maintenance, Gann Asphalt and Concrete. One contractor, all things parking lot. Trusted in Kansas City since 1994. Online at GANNasphalt.com.
You're always better with a roof from JR.
Well, that was fun. And who says we don't get hurricanes in KC? That storm that blew through last week had Category 1 hurricane winds. And now, here come all the hail-chasing roofers. But there was no hail. And inspecting a roof for wind damage is a lot different than inspecting for hail damage. Unlike hail's dings and dents, wind damage likes to hide until the next storm when your roof leaks. That is exactly why you need to call JR & Company. With years of hurricane experience in Florida, locally owned JR & Company knows how to find the wind damage that others might miss. And they know how to deal with insurance adjusters on wind claims. As always, our inspection and your peace of mind are free at jrroofcheck.com.
You're always better with a roof from JR.
Visit jrroofcheck.com.
Tailgates and turkey, yes please. This season, score a touchdown with U.S. soy-fed turkey. Versatile, tasty, and truly different, turkey is always a winner. You can get all the recipes and register for a chance to win the ultimate prize pack at tailgatewithturkey.com. You'll be the pride of the parking lot.
Enjoy Medium Mondays at Old Shawnee Pizza and get any single topping medium pizza for only $10.99. It's too hot to cook. Call or go to ShawneePizza.com today. Any single topping medium pizza for only $10.99. Only at Old Shawnee Pizza. 2 locations.
Your next success begins with University of Maryland Global Campus, an accredited state university for more than 75 years. UMGC has been giving working adults the affordable, online education you need to reach the future you want. Because the path to success is different for everyone, we offer more than 125 undergraduate and graduate degrees and certificates, along with success coaches and lifetime career services. Our online and hybrid courses let you learn on your schedule. No-cost digital materials in place of most textbooks, affordable tuition, and financial resources make UMGC accessible. You know what it feels like to succeed. We'll help you succeed again. Too late isn't in your vocabulary. Reach your next goal at.
Hey Cody, when Gold runs like a voice clip that he's got pre-recorded, do you want me to just take you off the air?
Start August 16th.
No, it's fine. I just won't talk.
Learn more at UMGC.
Okay, all right.
Certified to operate by Chev.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate restrictions apply.
Oh yeah, totally. I was just talking about like when he ran that B-roll clip about Vern talking about Nikki.
You know, there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same. But
okay, sounds great.
95% cheaper, and you can get it online. Just go to 4hims.com/radio. Through Hims, you'll get a free medical consultation, discreet shipping if prescribed, a 100% online process, and trusted generic alternatives to the name brands to treat ED at up to 95% off. That's right, the same active ingredient as the brand name for 95% less. It's the same ED medication, still prescribed by a licensed medical provider, but with zero copay, no expensive appointments, and no awkward face-to-face conversations. To start your free online visit, you need to go to this exclusive address, 4hims.com/radio. That's 4hims.com/radio for your free online visit. FORHIMS.com/RADIO.
Join Mark Patrick seminars and stop smoking without cravings, irritability, weight gain, or your money back. Only $49.99 guaranteed. That's right. Don't just cut down, but stop smoking once and for all. Also, lose all the weight and let hypnosis destroy unwanted cravings, late day eating binges, boredom eating, stress eating, and lose the weight. Stop Smoking Seminar Wednesday, August 9th at the Wingate Hotel in Kansas City. Weight Loss Seminar 5:30 p.m. and Stop Smoking at 8 p.m. Sign up at markpatrickseminars.com. That's markpatrickseminars.com.
Right now at Wendy's, when you buy either a Dave's Single, Spicy Chicken Sandwich, Medium Frosty, or 10-piece nuggets, you can get another for just $1. Your dollar never tasted so good. So it's obvious what everyone will get, right?
Definitely nugs
Spicy
and
chicken
a Frosty.
sandwich, Dave's Single and a Frosty for me.
And a Frosty. Okay, who said Frosty and a Frosty? Pick your obvious choice. Choose wisely. Choose Wendy's, buy one, get one for $1.
Limited time only. Price of participation may vary. U.S. Wendy's, valid for item of equal or lesser value. Cannot be combined in a combo or any other offer.
Help clear away classroom bacteria. Kill 99.9% of germs and first-day jitters. Disinfect desks. Get rid of sticky surfaces. And sanitize the room. For less obstacles and more studying. When you get to a clean slate, the possibilities are endless. Clorox. Start clean. Always use products as directed.
For the ones who know safety isn't a catchphrase, it's a culture. And the ones who help make sure everyone makes it home safe. For the safety-minded who watch everyone's backs, Grainger offers supplies and solutions for every industry, as well as safety assessments and training to keep your facilities safe and your people safer. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Hey y'all, my name is Tiara, and a little thing that I love about the Chick-fil-A Spicy Chicken Biscuit is that it has the perfect amount of spice to jumpstart my day. Whoever thought of it, thank you so much.
Hi, my name is Robert, and a little thing I love about Chick-fil-A Spicy Chicken Biscuit is the biscuit. It reminds me of my grandma's homemade biscuit. It's always buttery and savory. Then you add the spices, instant classic.
Order the Spicy Chicken Biscuit on the Chick-fil-A app today. Real Chick-fil-A guests paid for their testimonials.
Hi, my name is PJ Vogt. I host the podcast Search Engine, where every week I hunt down the answers to the questions I can't get out of my head. Like, why are drug dealers poisoning their customers with fentanyl? Or, is my local sushi restaurant a part of an international scam? Or, how sad are the monkeys at the zoo? If you, like me, find this world bewildering, but also sometimes enjoy being bewildered by it, check out the show on the Odyssey app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever else you listen.
The 610 Sports Radio phone line is brought to you by Onder Law Injury Lawyers. Visit getjim.com.
Anthony Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electric.
technicians you can trust with your house keys.
Anthony Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electric. The technicians you can trust with your house keys for over 70 years. Right now, get a free water heater with your new cooling and heating system installation. Schedule online at anthonyphce.com today.
All right, here on Cody and Gold, Alex Gold, Cody Tapp with you. Cody's Insane Show. Chiefs practice just wrapped up or is about to wrap up.
Well, they're still huddled. They've been huddled
minutes.
for like 7 minutes. Someone must be giving an impassioned speech.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I don't know what to tell you. They are still huddled, very focused. I think we're on minute. I don't know how long ago I texted you, but they were 2 minutes into the huddle then, and it is still going now, which should give you some indication of just how long that's lasting, by the way.
Okay, so maybe towards the end of practice. If so, that would mean at some point here fairly soon we might have Trent McDuffie stopping by the tent, the Ag Power tent, where we broadcast up in St. Joe, where you can score big this year with your home team, John Deere dealer. Ag Power, visit agpower.com for more. So we'll keep an eye on that, and Cody will let us know how things are going on that end. But you got a situation certainly out in Indianapolis that's a mess with Jim Irsay, the owner of the Colts, and their star running back, Jonathan Taylor. We know Jonathan Taylor last year only played in 11 games, dealt with an injury. Prior season, he led the league in rushing in 2021 and certainly had a heck of a second year in the league, and he's in his final year of his contract, right, Cody? So he wants to get paid. He wants a contract extension, and Jim Irsay has come out and said, look, we're just not in a position to really offer him anything right now. We're not looking to do that. And this is all on the heels of all the running back conversation the last couple weeks about backs not getting paid. Austin Eckler, Barkley did finally get something worked out with the Giants, but this is not going away anytime soon. And then since this has gone on over the weekend now, Jonathan Taylor has asked for a trade. That's the report that at least has come out. There's talk, could Jonathan Taylor be put on the non-football injury list? He claims that that's a bunch of BS, Jonathan Taylor does, about the back injury that's been kind of reported, that maybe he had a back injury that happened away from the facility. It is an absolute mess that Chris Ballard, the Colts general manager, is going to have to clean up and deal with. I do feel bad for Chris Ballard a little bit. You know, he takes the GM job a couple years ago. Andrew Luck decides to retire all of a sudden. Now he's got Jim Irsay, who continues to be far too involved as far as I'm concerned in the football decisions.
No, and it's Ballard knew that was part of the case, so I don't feel all that bad for him, I guess. Has Irsay ever heard of, he's a very rich person who runs a powerful business. Has he not heard of, de-escalation? That was clearly a threat. Last night, when that NFI report came out, that was the team being like, oh, you want to do this? We'll keep your ass a whole extra year. We won't even pay you this season, and we'll really ruin your career if you're thinking about sitting out this time, Jonathan. That was, clearly what was happening there. Because he was tweeting out last night about how they didn't have good sources. And then, of course, other people are like, well, no, they have good sources. They're just telling them misinformation. You're like, all right, I can't get into this argument. Yeah, fine. The source is telling – it's not a good source if they're telling you lies is really what's important in this end. And Jonathan Taylor is kind of getting screwed in this. But here's the problem. They can't – Alex, you and I know this. This sucks. You can't win this fight. You can't win it. You have to choose a different time to have it. You have to have every position on board. I don't know what it is. But you can't win this fight at this time. It's impossible. And so, Jim Irsay should just say nothing. But he's not helping the cause. But Jonathan Taylor also is in a no-win situation. All he should do is request a trade. You're not going to pay me, I want out of here.
And that's what he's done. And that is what he's done. But then you have Jim Irsay, who was talking to The Athletic. So listen to what he had to say about just what it means for the organization if they were to if they didn't have Jonathan Taylor around.
I mean, if I die tonight and Jonathan Taylor's out of the league, no one's going to miss us. The league goes on. I mean, we know that. The National Football rolls on. It doesn't matter, who comes and who goes.
So, he's not wrong, Cody, but a very Jim Irsay comment there. I mean, he's not incorrect. That if you're a fan of the Colts, be a fan of the team, not the players much, right? Players come and go all the time. I get that's what his point was. But Jonathan Taylor is in a terrible spot because it's too late to ask for all of this. I mean, I agree with what you were saying, just in the spot that Jonathan Taylor has put himself in. It's almost August. Who's trading for Jonathan Taylor that's willing to give him the massive contract? And so this goes back to the whole running back situation. I wouldn't be Jim Irsay making comments like this. but I would operate organizationally the same way. I think Jonathan Taylor is obviously a stud, but he's coming off an injury. Do I want to give a massive contract to a guy that's just coming off an injury? I want to see how he actually performs off the injury first. I'm sorry.
But just say that. Like, all you have to do is, you don't even have to mean it, man. Irsay's gone a way that I've never seen an enter go, which is like, this guy's not important. I can't tell you how little I care if he's with this team long term. Like, he's just burying the guy for no reason. Like, all Jonathan Taylor did is what every player would do. He'd be like, hey, I'm one of the top 5 players in my position. I would like to be paid now. And they're like, yeah, but you just got hurt, so we're not going to do that. And he's like, but, it's the last year of my deal. This is normally – he'd be like, well, we don't want to pay you. And he'd be like, okay, fine. I would like a trade now. And then Irsay was like, excuse me? You want off of this team? Not only no, but hell no. And I'm going to tell everyone in the NFL, you are useless. And that is the case. And so it's just so funny to me that he would handle it this way, because it just seems insane that that's the case. I just think when you start thinking about it, it's just the worst possible way to handle it.
And look, he's going to play for the Colts, right? Like, he's going to end up playing football here in 2023, and I still think, in fact, it will be as a member of the Indianapolis Colts. Practice does look like it has actually wrapped up. We'll let you know a little bit later on some comments from Steve Spagnuolo. We're expected to have Trent McDuffie join us from training camp in the next minute or two. I'm understanding he is walking towards our tent. My guess is, Cody, at some point, I don't know, you're the only one there. Are you going to be able to deliver a snow cone? Is snow cone even as lucrative on a 70-degree day for the football player?
Well, I'll just have to ask Trent McDuffie himself, who's joining us now here on 610 Sports Radio. Trent, my co-host, is back in KC. We were a little worried about the weather.
Yep.
Maybe in electronics and all that stuff, so bear with us. Normally, I get our guests snow cones. Is it warm enough for a snow cone?
Nah, it ain't a snow cone type of day. Definitely not. The breeze is coming. The clouds is out. It's more like a hot chocolate kind of day for me.
Alex, that's right up your alley, man.
Hey, man, I'm with you. I'm absolutely with you. Even runner. It was a lighter practice for you guys today, right, though, Trent? I mean, this was this kind of year. I don't know if you guys probably liked today's practice.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, it was grueling yesterday. We got a lot of reps in. Coach Reed definitely packed those pads on us, and we got some good work in. But today, I mean, we still came out here, had a light practice, but definitely got the reps in and definitely got things cleaned up from yesterday.
I noticed you're rocking the 22 this year, though. You played this right. You waited for the college number. You didn't have to pay for it or anything.
Exactly. Right. I mean, shoot. I remember I talked to Juan Thornhill last year about it, and he was like, man, you could have had. I was like, no, it's cool. It's your number. But as soon as he got out of there, I was the first one to be like, hey, y'all, is that 22 still open?
I guess I wonder with stuff like that, you're trying to be like, well, I don't want to show up the veteran guy. I understand.
Right.
So, it's cool. I'll just wait a little bit for it.
100%.
You didn't even try?
I didn't even try. And I mean, honestly, looking back now, it lucky worked out because now the 21 is a little more special. All the fans and stuff who have 20, and I'm like, look, that's the only time you're going to see 21 McDuffie in the Chiefs jersey. So make sure y'all keep that one.
It's like the Jordan 45, right?
Exactly. It makes it a little more spectacular.
When you're talking about year 1, year 2, we had Sky on earlier. He was talking about, he's like, boy, the jump from Western Michigan to the NFL caught him quick.
Yeah.
The second he stepped onto an NFL training camp field and people started running around, he was like, uh-oh. How has that transition been from year 1 to year 2 as far as your comfort when you first step on the field against a bunch of other NFL players to now?
Yeah, I mean, shoot, kind of what Sky said. I mean, I remember rookie training camp to OTAs, it was like bullets were flying. Dudes were like Patrick Mahomes throwing every perfect ball no matter where I was at, and I was so frustrated. I was like, dude, I just cannot get this ball. What is happening? And then, man, over the course of last year and just learning more in the program and learning the plays and just being around the vets, coming in this year, I was a lot more confident. I feel like the game's really slowed down. And, I mean, when you look at the defense now, I mean, we're a bunch of hungry guys out there, and we're young. And we're relentless, and we definitely want to play with that attitude.
Is it a hyper-competitive secondary group? Because we look at it, Alex and I have talked about it before, we look at it as that's the strength of the defense right now. It's really deep.
Yeah.
Feels like you guys have 5, 6, 7 guys you're really comfortable with.
Right, yeah, no, I mean, last year that DB room was special because it was a bunch of young guys who were all coming in together, trying to learn everything together, and I feel like we cleaned a lot of things up from last year, and this year I feel like we really turned the page, and there's a lot of confidence. A lot of guys are sticking together, and, I mean, we're playing fast right now. I mean, when I look around, everybody who steps on that field is playing fast, and you love to see that.
We're talking to Trent McDuffie here on 610 Sports Radio. What's the next step for you, though? I mean, for me, it seems like if I were to pick something, it'd probably be, All right, Trent McDuffie, how many picks are you going to have this year? We're going to start seeing some interceptions. What's that look like for you?
Yeah, I mean, shoot. I dropped a few last year, so picks are definitely on the top of the list. But for me, a big thing was during this offseason just learning that nickel position. I know Coach Spags really liked me on the inside, and trying to just go from inside to outside and being comfortable with both was something huge for me. And, I mean, I'm someone I know a lot of guys talk about, personal stats, all pro, this and that. But for me, it's always just been what can I do for this team. And being able to go out there and just be the best teammate on and off the field is something that I pride myself in and something that I continue to do each and every day.
We found out Sky Moore last year. He said that the hobby he picked up was watches. From year 1 to year 2, you start, you get the NFL paycheck. Have you started picking up a new hobby?
Shoes.
I
feel like my
That's the first
shoes
one. That
went
gets
from
everybody.
10 to 20 to 30 to, man, I'm throwing shoes out. I'm like, yo, little brother, have these, dad.
Wait, what
have
size
these.
are you? I was about to say, let's figure out if we can get
Man,
Alex a pair.
Hey, if you need some shoes, hit me up for sure.
What size are you?
11 and a half, 12.
Oh,
perfect. There you go.
Hey, there you go, right up your alley.
Perfect. I like it. Hey, I did want to go back to we asked the number. You're obviously switching because that's your college number, right? That's where you were at.
Yep.
Are you worried about the Pac-12? It's not looking good, man. I'm a Big 12 guy, and you got Colorado now coming back to the Big 12. You got USC and UCLA leaving. What's going to happen for your Huskies?
Man, it's been crazy. I can't believe that all this is happening. I mean, I know the Pac-12 is a competitive conference, and they always taking each other out, but it'll be interesting because you got USC, UCLA traveling way over on the other side of the country during the winter time, so I know that's going to be a little different. Colorado's out. I mean, Utah's talking about it. So whatever Washington does, I know they're going to be in a good spot because they have a new coaching staff who really is something special. And I mean, I haven't been able to go back there yet, but they're constantly hitting me up, telling me about things, and I think that's just something really special. Just having a coach that didn't coach me still reach out.
If they're not going to be in the Pac-12, where do you want them to be? Because there's a chance they're not going to be in the Pac-12. I'm not sure how that's going to go over the next couple of weeks.
Oh, man. I feel like all these conferences now are huge. Like SEC's giant, Big 12's giant. I mean, we need to go somewhere where we can be competitive, but I don't need them in a 20-conference league, where everybody's just killing each other.
That's
like,
Big 12. That's what you want. You want the Big 12.
We need a little bit of selectivity in there, We can't be in a huge conference like that. So maybe Big 10, I don't know. Or just, man, stick it out. Pac-8, who knows? Whoever knows what it is, man, write it out.
Just as long as they'll call you a Power 5 and invite you into the college football playoff and all that stuff, you're okay.
We're good. As long as we can go to the college football playoffs, that's all that matters.
When you look around this team and try to get a sense of, where they were, you weren't here after the last time they won a Super Bowl. Mahomes has said this one felt different and he's even more motivated this time.
Yeah.
What's the sense of, like, the post-Super Bowl motivation?
Yeah.
You come in the league in 1 year and win one. It's kind of hard to not want anything but that.
It's hard to even – I mean, us rookies talk about it like, man, we don't even know what it's like to just have a regular offseason because, you go from the Super Bowl to straight to OTAs. And honestly, this year it feels like this team just has a sense of urgency. Like everybody is – locked in, everybody's ready to go. It feels like there's not many days that we're missing, not many days that guys are like, I'm sore. This like everybody is ready to get back to work, and that's exciting to be a part of because I'm a guy who just works like that. Like I wake up every day ready to go, and just being able to be out there with a full team like that, it's exciting.
We're talking to Trent McDuffie here on 610 Sports Radio. A lot of focus on the wide receiver room and a bunch of new faces, some young guys. Now it's year 2 for you, though, in the quarterback room. What's standing out for you with the wide receivers, though? Who have you maybe enjoyed matching up with the most?
Yeah, man. Rashid Rice, that's definitely a cat who can play. I mean, he came in here trying to learn that offense. I know Sky Moore can talk about it. It can't be an easy offense to learn with Andy Reid calling those plays, but he's coming in and put his head down, hasn't said much, just got to work, and has been making a lot of great plays and is really impressive.
Is he as good as challenging the catch, I guess, like going up to get the ball as it looks like on film?
He's a big body, which is going to help him a lot in this league. He's physical. He can run routes good. And when you got a guy like Patrick Mahomes that's going to put the ball in the perfect position, you got to catch it. And he's been able to catch it every single time.
Do you think you've already I was just going back here, like he's a big body. And I remember the whole thing coming out of camp, we talked to you last camp, was, people were like, he's undersized or Trent should be bigger or he'd gone higher in the draft.
Yeah.
You feel like you've gotten rid of that? People aren't bringing that up anymore now?
Yeah, I mean, I haven't heard a lot about it. I mean, I think it's because we won the Super Bowl. So, I mean, what can you say to a Super Bowl champion? But I feel like I bring a lot of other skill sets besides being the tallest or the strongest. I'm just someone who's out there just making plays. And I think I showed that a lot last year coming back from that injury is just, man, I like to hit. I like to go make plays. And I'm someone who's just going to always be around the ball.
Okay, so what was a worse field? Week 1? In Arizona, the one you got injured on, or the Super Bowl field? Same field. Which one was worse when you played on it?
man. I would say the Super Bowl.
Oh, man.
It was so slippery during that Super Bowl. And, I mean, we were changing cleats, anything we did. Yeah, we were just slipping. And, I mean, that's part of the game. You know, you can't complain about it because it's the field. You can't change it, but it was definitely surprising.
Yeah, there's some people in Philly been complaining a lot about it, though, Trent. They've been complaining plenty about that. You're right. You would have thought you guys were playing on a different field than they were, the way there's some people have been talking.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't heard too much about it. I'm not really on social media like that. But, man, when you lose the Super Bowl, I mean, there's a lot of things that you can point at that could have messed you up.
Trent, last thing, and then we'll let you get out of here. When you go into year 2, you said you're motivated by the Super Bowl stuff. We understand that. How easy, or, you know, like when you watch like Mahomes on the quarterback series and those things, how easy is it to stay that level motivated when you know the quarterback you've got, I guess, works that hard?
Yeah. Man, when you can just look at any of these vets out here, I mean, you talk about T. Kels going on year, 11, 12, I think it is. You got O linemen who are way up there, D linemen. I mean, guys who I know how my body feels, especially after the Super Bowl, after games. I'm 22, you know. I'm sore and this and that, and I know it can be pretty difficult. But for guys like that who are on year 11, year 12, I bet their bodies are killing them. And knowing they're going to wake up, come to work, get out here, run as fast as they can, do the things they have to do, it makes me be like, okay, there is no excuse for me to be lazy or not want to wake up or not do this rep, because you got guys way older than you doing it. So just being able to look up to them and knowing that they're also got your back, they're also going to come in and be like, yo, we got this. We're in this together. It makes it a lot easier to wake up and go out there and play.
Trent, really appreciate you joining us. Thanks so much. I'll speak for Alex. Alex, you want to say bye?
Thanks, man. We appreciate you having on the show.
I appreciate you.
Appreciate it. Good luck this season.
Thank you so much.
There you go. Trent McDuffie joining us from St. Joe. Always good to talk with Trent. Had a chance to talk with him last year, obviously. And as you asked him, Cody, about the field conditions, unfortunately got off to a start with the injury, but then bounced back in a big way and obviously had a very, very nice rookie season. Everybody expecting big things from him here in year number 2 for Kansas City. The jersey change, there are plenty of fans wearing McDuffie 21. You're going to have to get that McDuffie 22 jersey now, Cody.
No, you can hold on to the 21 for a while. He gave the permission. He said that it's like an exclusive collector's item now, right? You were like a fan from the beginning, right? It's proving the longevity of your Trent McDuffie fandom. I think you're okay.
So I was in Chicago at the National, which is this big card show and memorabilia show. I just saw someone on the text line point this out. They did have some signed jerseys there, obviously. Someone says that they bought the signed number 21 jersey at the National Card Show this weekend off the clearance rack for $50. They said they couldn't pass on it. That's a good deal. You got the signed McDuffie for $50 at the card show. I wish I would have seen that. There was some really nice stuff there, Cody. We can talk more about this later. I don't know what you and I have done wrong, but there were 16, 17-year-old kids walking around with backpacks trading cards, and I swear, I'm not even kidding, dude. Some of these kids had $5,000, $10,000, $15,000 in cash on them. I did one that's not very smart, but the amount of cash on the floor was insane. Teenagers.
What kind of teenager has $15,000? How rich is their parent? That's all. My assumption is they've got a rich mommy and daddy.
Well, that's what I thought. So we're walking. My buddy's got everybody there, if you go to the show, has these Pelican-type cases, right? Hard shell cases. They got their cards in there, and they're walking around. It's unbelievable.
Things they're trying to sell, things they're trying to acquire.
So we're walking around, and my buddy has one of these, and this kid just comes up. He's like, hey, man, what do you got? What do you got? It's like some 16, 17-year-old kid, and my buddy's like, oh, this is what you do there. So you're like, okay, yeah, sure. You want to look at what I have in the box or whatever. And so they're going, and he's going through. He's like, I'm interested in this. And they're talking. They're negotiating, yada, yada, yada. And this kid opens up his backpack, pulls out like a little fanny pack. And, dude, it still had bundled bills. I mean, it was at least $5K, if not $10K. And it's some 16 or 17-year-old kid. I'm like, this is ridiculous.
He probably runs like some website. Kids are much more adept at making money earlier, I feel like, than maybe we were. I had a job that paid pretty well for a teenager. They paid me like $10 or I think eventually like $11 an hour cash. I'm still pretty sure they never took the taxes out on any of that stuff. So just straight cash. I was like 15 years old, and I just put it in a jar. I didn't even have a bank account, Gold. It was just a jar full of cash. And then when the season would end and I didn't have work for the winter, when I needed money, I would just take it out of my jar of cash.
Dude, there was plenty of under the table type. I mean, like, there was real transactions obviously going on, but there was plenty of under the table type of transactions going on where people obviously were just going up and using cash. And there was definitely Definitely
no
some of that going
CTR,
on.
no cash transaction report. Well, that's why everybody
player that's looking more and more like a star as we continue broadcasting from St. Joe here on Cody and Gold.
Cody and Gold on 610 Sports Radio and the Odyssey.
You're clear.
Talk on the radio. Yeah. You're a fanboy.
Brought to you by Gann Asphalt and Concrete. For asphalt, concrete, and parking lot maintenance, Gann Asphalt and Concrete. One contractor, all things parking lot. Trusted in Kansas City since 1994. Online at GANNasphalt.com.
Hey, it's Carrington Harrison from The Drive here. Do you remember how cold it got this winter? Well, it was a chilly one. And if you notice the cold air pouring through those old leaky windows, well, guess what? When it gets hot this summer, the exact opposite is going to happen. All that cool air is going to escape through those leaky windows, and that hot air is going to come in. So I'm telling you right now to replace those old windows and keep your house cool this summer with the official window of the Kansas City Chiefs over at Window World. Their windows are one of 2 windows with a good housekeeping seal of approval, a lifetime warranty that covers all parts, glass breakage, and labor. And right now, Window World is offering 18 months, same as cash financing with approved credit. So pick up the phone right now and call this number for a free home estimate, 816-799-0820. And they can show you how they are simply the best for less. Remember this phone number, 816-799-0820. Or check out the website, windowworld.com.
Tailgates and turkey, yes please. This season, score a touchdown with U.S. soy-fed turkey. Versatile, tasty, and truly different, turkey is always a winner. You can get all the recipes and register for a chance to win the ultimate prize pack at tailgatewithturkey.com. You'll be the pride of the parking lot.
Your next success begins with University of Maryland Global Campus, an accredited state university for more than 75 years. UMGC has been giving working adults the affordable, online education you need to reach the future you want. Because the path to success is different for everyone, we offer more than 125 undergraduate and graduate degrees and certificates, along with success coaches and lifetime career services. Our online and hybrid courses let you learn on your schedule. No-cost digital materials in place of most textbooks, affordable tuition, and financial resources make UMGC accessible. You know what it feels like to succeed. We'll help you succeed again. Too late isn't in your vocabulary. Reach your next goal at University of Maryland Global Campus. Apply now and save with no application fee. Undergraduate and most graduate courses start August 16th. Learn more at umgc.edu, certified to operate by Chev.
WeatherGuard, the name that stands for unmatched security in truck boxes, is now making a name for itself on the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series circuit. WeatherGuard is the official sponsor of the safety and security work crews at Speedway Motorsports tracks across the country. Engineered to meet the demands from job sites to race sites, WeatherGuard truck boxes feature double welded seams, weather-tight seals, and high security latches and locks. If it's a job worth doing, it's a job worth WeatherGuard. Learn more at weatherguard.com/truck.
For the ones who work hard to ensure their crew can always go the extra mile, and the ones who get in early so everyone can go home on time, there's Grainger, offering professional-grade supplies backed by product experts so you can quickly and easily find what you need. Plus, you can count on access to a committed team ready to go the extra mile for you. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
If you're hiring, it can feel like you're trying to find a needle in a haystack. You can hope the right person comes along, or you can just use ZipRecruiter. And now you can try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. In fact, ZipRecruiter has helped a lot of business owners find their needle in a haystack, like Marco, president of operations at Telly Tires and Auto Centers. Because Telly Tires has grown a lot in the last few years, Marco needed to hire everyone from a receptionist to a store manager to a head mechanic.
ZipRecruiter helps me find all the right people, even the most difficult jobs to fill. ZipRecruiter helps me keep my business running.
Take it from Marco and millions of other businesses who've used ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter can help you find the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. That's ZipRecruiter.com/RADIO. ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-6986. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. There is zero risk to you. If we can't reduce your tax debt, then you pay nothing. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have a 5-star rating on Google and Yelp and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-6986. That's 800-575-6986. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
At Staples, school savings are always in session. From art supplies and essentials to the latest tech, in stock and price low. School on, save on at your local Staples store.
Not all water heaters are made equally. Some can be temperamental. Some can be unreliable and don't even think about what happens if you have neighbors downstairs.
Why is it raining inside my apartment?
Not with a Navien tankless water heater. You'll never run out of hot water. You only heat water when you need it, saving you tons in utility costs. Navien tankless water heaters. Visit tanklessmadesimple.com to learn more.
I'm Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. I learned about atrial fibrillation the hard way. My symptoms would come and go. Shortness of breath, fatigue. I kept going. Then I got so lightheaded, I couldn't. My doctor said I have AFib, so I'm about 5 times more likely to have a stroke. Other symptoms, irregular heartbeat, heart racing, chest pain can come and go, but the risk of stroke stays. If you have symptoms, tell a doctor. Visit notimetowait.com.
Sponsored by Bristol-Myers Squibb and Pfizer.
You're listening to 610 Sports Radio from the Max Motors Studios. Miss anything while you were at work? Every show is available on demand at 610sports.com and the Odyssey app. 610 Sports Radio. KCSP Kansas City. WDAF HD2 Liberty. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
11 o'clock hour, Cody and Gold. Alex Gold, Cody Tapp with you. We are inside, or Cody at least is inside the Ag Power broadcast tent. Score big this year with your home team, John Deere dealer. Ag Power, visit agpower.com for more. As Cody's up in St. Joe at Chiefs practice today with some weather in the area. We split up 2 different directions to make sure we could get on the air today. All working out. Appreciate Trent McDuffie for joining us from up at Chiefs camp as well. We are a little bit later on during the Chiefs Red Half Hour going to hear from Irsay Rice and also Felix Anudike Uzama, 2
Alex, real
of
quick.
the Chiefs' top picks in this year's NFL draft. So that's still coming your way today from St. Joe and from Chiefs training camp. And again, you're not sweating today, so you're
No,
you're
I feel
lucking
great.
out.
Also, I have an important announcement. Pete Sweeney's here.
Okay.
And his first question is, where's Alex?
Yeah, where's Alex?
What's up, Pete? What's going on, man? We decided, the weather in the morning, Cody and I were texting, and it's one of those where after what happened a week or so ago, making sure that somehow, some way at 10, we're able to actually be on the show. And Cody's got our beautiful Ford F-150 from our friends at Max Motors, so it made sense that he was the one that drove up there today.
What a weird sensation. Could you imagine if the voice of God was Alex Gold?
Just like in your ear, but you can't see him? Yeah. Does it feel different than the normal
Well,
setup?
I'm the angel on your shoulder, Pete.
So Alex is on
man.
the show. He's just not
Got it.
here.
Hey,
Got
Pete,
it,
I'll
got it.
creep you out even more.
Yes.
Cody's got the video stream.
He
I've
can
got it
see
pulled
you.
up. I can see you. Yeah, how about that?
This is creepy. Okay. What do you guys want to know?
Well, first, I think we're getting ready to talk about him just kind of individually, but I am 100% convinced Irsay Rice I'm bordering on light years ahead of where Sky Moore was a year ago. Not just hearing him talk, but Trent McDuffie's first. I said, hey, who do you like going against, Trent? Irsay Rice. Patrick Mahomes talks about him.
Yeah.
We've heard Matt Nagy talk about him. Seems like, I know that there was a little bit of Sky Moore buzz last year. This feels more.
Yeah, and I think it helps being a bigger target, right? If you're a bigger receiver, I mean, there's obviously a bigger target to throw at, and I just think there's a sensation that goes along with it where, Sky comes in, and who's standing there is Juju Smith-Schuster and Marquez Valdez-Scantling. It's 2 receivers who have been, proven in this league, and I think what you have this year in the receiver room is a grand opportunity because, as we have talked about on shows before, someone has to do it, right? Like
yes.
Kadarius Toney's not around, he's injured. You have Juju now with the New England Patriots. There's such a grand opportunity because Patrick Mahomes has to throw to somebody. So you're seeing Rashee Rice stand out. You're seeing Sky Moore in his second year stand out. You're seeing, yes, Justin Ross get targets and making good plays.
The social media team loves them some Justin Ross.
The number one rule of social media is to know your audience, Cody. And
It's working.
the Chiefs' social team certainly does.
Yeah, there's no question when it comes to that. Now, the only other thing I was wondering, just from today, we can get into the weekend and everything. Cody mentioned something very serious, though. We noticed that Tommy Townsend left the practice field. I mean, are we in a no punt situation now the rest of camp?
I mean, hopefully the rest of the year. I know
Yeah,
there's a lot of
way more
Chiefs
fun.
fans who never want to see the Chiefs punt. But I think it seems minor at the time. The Chiefs PR staff did not even mention Townsend as we got to as we got the injuries after practice. I tend to think they're being cautious with this. This was a very light practice. You had special teams periods where it seemed like the punt wasn't as important. It was just testing, okay, who is blocking when you have these punt teams on, and they still were able to get some of that work. I know that toward the end of practice, Harrison Butker received the football. So get the day off tomorrow, right? I don't think you necessarily need to rush Tommy Townsend back, but I do feel it. You'll be able to tell if it's going to be an extended injury because eventually they would bring another punter in. But right now it's wait and see. I'm sure we'll get an update when the Chiefs resume on Wednesday.
Yeah, who are the top available punters, Pete?
That
Just the top 5 available
Dustin
punters.
Colquitt's got to be available somewhere.
I
Right?
like Colquitt, right? And
Right.
like they all punted.
Who was the one that used to dance that's out of the league now?
Oh, King?
King. There's
Oh,
another
King.
one. Yeah, there you go. So there's 2 right there.
I like that people really hated him because he was like a punter who wanted to do stuff.
There's if you've noticed in previous years, there's a longtime equipment assistant named Jay White who can punt the football too.
Oh.
I don't know if you want to put him in a game where he could be tackled potentially, but yeah, he's available.
I was kind of disappointed. I saw Harrison Butker take the snap. I kind of thought maybe he'd fire one off, In the emergency situation, it's obviously going to be you.
Well, I think
so.
it's
Why not just fire a punt off? Let's see what you got.
I mean, I'm trying to put myself in, speaking of God, I'm trying to put myself in Harrison's brain for a second. I don't think that he wants to mess up his whole kicking thing. Like, that to me seems like a home run derby type of situation.
You don't want to throw off
I'm
your
not
swing?
going to hit in the home run derby because I'm not going to throw off my 300, average swing here.
Okay, fair enough.
In all seriousness, though, I did see, we'll hear from Steve Spagnuolo and Rashee Rice a little bit later during the Chiefs Red half hour, but Spags was at the podium, and he said, talking about Felix and Udike Uzama, that, quote, I think Felix is climbing. He's flashing now. Have you noticed Felix a little bit more, and how is he maybe coming along?
Yeah, I mean, he's getting a lot of time with the second team, as it stands, and that's par for the course. He did miss periods of the offseason thanks to that hand injury that he suffered in college. And I think finally in the one-on-ones, our Ron Kopp was our lead analyst at Arrowhead Pride was here yesterday, and he certainly noticed that Felix is finally popping a little bit, and that's the first few steps of a rookie here, and we've seen rookies before that. It just last year with Karlaftis, where you get a lot of volume at first. It takes you a while to, I think, get up to the game speed of the NFL, and then you can really contribute it as you go. So I think that's the way that the Chiefs are looking at Felix. Spags was forthcoming and saying he was struggling early and is now finally beginning to climb here. I think the number one thing that I'm watching right now is because I don't think they believe Felix is going to be that George guy right away. Similar to George is the status of Mike Dana. I think Mike Dana is going to be that guy. He's been out of practice these last few days with a calf injury, which he was dealing with last year. So I think that the Chiefs will be cautious about that. But as you were mentioning, good to see Felix, I think, being spotted a little bit more, and then Spags noticing it and feeling comfortable enough to express that at the podium.
So we understand that like the 2 least areas of depth probably in this team are defensive line and at this point wide receiver. From a wide receiver perspective, we started the show talking about like the offense, and we're like how we all think they're going to score, and we all think they'll get the yardage, and they'll all get their points, which is why if they finish outside of the top 5, I think it's a disappointing offensive year. You are 6th in points per game. You did this. It didn't have to be like this. You have every other thing in place. You have the offensive line. You have the coach. You have the quarterback. You chose not to put enough weapons around him to break through that seal. To me, that's a disappointing season.
Well,
6th or worse is officially disappointing for me if they finish anywhere near that offensively.
I'm not a big preseason guy. I know that people sometimes love the preseason because you start to get football, but I just think it gets old early. But I think for when that first-team offense is on the field, this preseason feels more important than others because there are so many unknowns. You may come out of that preseason game, and even if it's just 1 or 2 drives that Andy Reid likes to give Patrick Mahomes, you might say, you know what, I'm seeing it now. Where in previous years you had the name notoriety. Tyreek Hill, one of the better receivers in the NFL. Juju Smith-Schuster was able to have over 1,000 yards that one season in Pittsburgh that made you think he could do it again. Marquez Valdez-Scantling has been Aaron Rodgers' go-to guy in certain situations. This year it's a lot of names that aren't known, especially nationally, and I guess even locally, where you started to see Sky Moore emerge at the very end of last year. So I just think when the first team offense is on in the preseason, you might get a glimpse of, okay, maybe these receivers aren't well known, but maybe they will be by the end of 2023, and I think those will be the very first steps of that.
Who is, outside of Tony, because he's hurt right now, so let's just take him off the list for now, who's most likely to become a household name for you? Like a fantasy darling, right? The guy who somebody takes in the 9th round and loves it.
Even before Tony got hurt, and I do a little bit of fantasy stuff because people love it, especially when I do some of these national hits on Sirius. I like Sky Moore. If you're looking from a pure fantasy standpoint, even before Tony got hurt, you can't really trust Tony when it comes to Chiefs players that you may want to draft in these leagues. It's hard to trust anyone past Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce. But I still think right now to this day that I think by the end of the year, just given Tony and his injury history, because I think Marquez Valdez-Scantling to an extent is a little bit more one-dimensional, I just think that Sky Moore is going to get that volume in the slot, that Juju type of role, and that's where he was best last year. And I think the Chiefs really lean into that. And by the end of the year, maybe you look up, he has 900 yards, and that leads the receiver room.
Lastly, for me, at least, Pete, we're talking to Pete Sweeney from Arrowhead Pride up in St. Joe. The offensive line, it looked like Lucas Niang was working at left tackle, at least with the twos. Is that how you see this playing out? If they were to have an injury at left tackle this year, is Lucas Niang actually the backup left tackle?
So I did see that. He was working left tackle with the twos, but if you really were zoning in today, and I'll have more observations as I do every day, Wanye Morris worked at right and left tackle with the first team. The way the 10-10-10 practices work is the first team offense has their group of plays that they're installing, and they go against the second team defense. And Andy Reid and his staff tell the defense what they want to see so they can work this look. And so the first 3 or 4 offensive plays with the first team, you're going to have your base guys. So you saw the offensive line we expect. You saw in several periods Wanye Morris replace what would be Donovan Smith at left tackle, and then a few plays later you saw Jawan Taylor come off the field and he was at right tackle. So I think right now, as it stands, the leading swing tackle is the rookie, and Lucas Niang will be on this team. As it stands now, that could change. Lucas Niang will be on this team, but I tend to think that Wanye Morris will be the first one off the bench, at least as it stands now.
We'll just let that be it, Pete. I've got more questions, but we'll see you again on Wednesday. So,
yeah,
we
have a lot of days together.
Yeah,
hopefully more days like this. It is.
Well,
cool.
I'll take this, but I don't know. Someone earlier told me that they think it's supposed to start thunderstorming again at like 11:30 or noon.
I don't know
and
about
seeing
you guys.
how I'm sitting outside under this metal tent.
I lost power from 9 p.m. to 1 a.m. 1 a.m. last night at my house. So
really?
Yeah. I want you to know, Pete, anytime you're out of power, you're welcome at my place.
As
you and Abby are welcome to the tap house.
As Felix Anaduke-Azama was struggling and is now climbing, Evergy went from climbing to now struggling. So
thanks, Pete.
All right.
There you go. That's Pete Sweeney, our Chiefs insider from Arrowhead Pride, joining us up in St. Joe, and our training camp coverage from St. Joe is brought to you by Twin Peaks Eats, Drinks, Scenic Views. We'll get to the trash of the day coming up in about 5 minutes or so. A reminder, he mentioned Felix and Udike-Uzomah there. Expect to hear from Felix and Rashee Rice in the Chiefs Red half hour, about 15 minutes or so. And, Cody, hopefully the weather's good for you, man. The studio, it's opening up over here, man.
Yeah,
it's calmed down back here in KC.
That was one person. I'm not going to lie to you.
Okay.
I have not checked the radar yet. That was just one person who said, ooh, I heard it's supposed to start getting bad about 11:30 again. One of the gentlemen who's working over at that Hy-Vee tent. So.
Did you have a hamburger for me?
I did, actually.
Good.
The guy actually came up right at like 11 o'clock and was like, hey, do you want a hamburger or a hot dog before we get out of here? I was like,
That's
you know what? Right at lunchtime?
Yeah, man.
You got it. What a guy.
They always take care of us while we're up there. I'll be back up there with you Wednesday. The weather will cooperate. We won't have to worry about losing connection or anything.
Yeah, I hope so. Look, all I wanted to make sure is that we didn't Well, and what if it storms at 11:30 and then all of a sudden neither of us can get away?
Yeah, that'd be
At
problematic.
the very least, if things go bad, you're still there, even if I'm still stuck in some rain. I'm looking at the radar now. I think that guy might have been talking out of his ass.
I think you'll be good, man. I think you'll be good. One thing we didn't ask Pete about, though, and it was from the weekend, and I told you I heard our sister station, KMBZ, they were doing like news reports, but they're just doing quick training camp update as well, and they're talking about Travis Kelce throwing a punch, and I saw yesterday as I was waiting to drive back into town, on one of the TVs that we had in front of us, they were showing clips of the punch, and it was on Sports Center and all this. It's kind of funny to me a little bit because I never would have thought Kelce would be the player that would have done it, but also it doesn't matter at the same time. Cochran, of course, looked like he tried to swat at the ball at the end of the play. Kelce was a little agitated. You said it. I think you're right. Look, man, they're sweating their ass off. They're hot. That puts you in a bad mood right away, and he's had enough. He had enough. He regrets it. He sent out some tweets, says he's got to be better. He's got to be a better leader, and I think they move on. Andy even kind of joked that, look, man, at least an older guy has got some energy.
Well, and here's part of it. So, like, a week ago, so last week, maybe like Wednesday or Thursday, Andy's like, they were talking about, like, training camp fights because there was, like, a couple of little dust-ups, one of which included Travis Kelce, and he was like, fighting's stupid, and you don't get better. All you can do is get hurt. And you're like, okay. And Travis knows that. They've had those conversations. Andy's done nothing but brag about how far Travis Kelce come. I'm dead serious. I think the only thing that happened here is it got hot, and he got mad because of how stupid and hot it is. And he's a veteran player who's been doing a million of these training camps and probably doesn't need a single damn snap out of here, if we're being honest, Gold, in order to roll out of the door and get 1,200 yards receiving this season. And he's just tired, and it's hot, and he doesn't want to do it. And these players, these young players who are trying to make a name for themselves, see Travis as the only target to do his which, so they keep trying to punch the ball away. And he's like, stop it. It's annoying. Get the ball in real time or don't. I'm over it. I think that's all that happened here. It is an absolute non-issue.
Yeah, it's not a problem. Honestly, it's more surprising that if I'm one of the young players, I'm like, I'm not trying. Like, I know how this goes. If I actually cause Kelce to get hurt, if I'm one of these young players, my ass is getting cut or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, I don't get the benefit if I'm the younger player for trying to agitate Travis anyway. But it is all good and fun, like you said. It's practice. Some tensions get there, and they'll be fine. Not really too concerned about it. Fortunately, though. What always is concerned is like you just want to make sure that whoever throws the punch doesn't break their hand or whatever. That's what you get concerned about.
It's the guy who like knocks the water cooler off and ends up like breaking a toe. Because that's the thing.
Well,
We've seen people get hurt throwing hissy fits a bunch of times. So it's not like it's never happened.
Who's the player in Seattle for the Mariners? Kalinick or whatever his name is. He broke. Didn't he just break his foot last week because he kicked the cooler? Yeah. So stuff like that happens.
Like I mean, I'm not surprised by it. This goes back to the thing that we talked about when we were watching those coaches and the thing. I'm like, just don't act like a total meltdown crybaby child, and I'm mostly going to let this stuff go. When you start acting like that, like a complete man baby, then I'm like, get control of your emotions. Be like, well, we're men and we're playing sports, and I get mad. You're like, relax. It ain't that serious just because somebody is
I'm happy
somebody called a wrong play.
I'm happy to hear you're good with this because you know that we strongly disagreed during the season when the offensive coordinator for the Bills threw his papers up in the air.
Travis's was less than that even.
You did not like seeing I think it was the OC Ken Dorsey, I believe it was, for the Bills, who threw his laptop and papers in the air, and you're like, stop acting like a child. I'm like, I don't really care. It's in the heat of the moment. Not really a problem for me. Same thing with this practice deal.
Yeah, I mean, to me, it's not the same because he was like, he's not even like, someone's not at least physically shoving him around, right? Where maybe it's driving you towards that feeling.
Tensions
that dude was
are
just
high.
sitting up in a freaking booth.
Tensions are high, man. It happens. But yeah, the heat definitely contributes to it, but all is fine. No issue when it comes to that. I also, by the way, when Pete was saying that the Chiefs, the fact that they didn't even really like mention the Townsend injury, I'm guessing that it is pretty minor. Like, I know they don't always tell us everything, but the fact that there was no even mention of it tells me I don't think they're all that concerned about it.
I'll be honest, again, because it's a lighter practice. It didn't look all that serious when he went down. He walked off on his own power. He went to the medical tent. They were looking at it a little bit, and then they walked up the hill. He got in the front seat of the cart.
There you go. Always the front seat. Front seat.
Didn't put Tommy Townsend, a guy who relies on his legs for a living, even in the back. They put him in the front seat. So if you're looking for any kind of inside information, you're probably good there.
Okay, that makes me, just feel so much better hearing that. Appreciate that. A little update from training camp is brought to you by Max Motors. Worth the drive from anywhere. maxmotors.com. Let's get to the trash of the day.
Trash of the day.
All right, I got a couple options for you. A little potpourri, I guess, here, Cody. You tell me which one intrigues you the most.
Okay.
1, man who dragged lifeless uncle's body to post office for pension, given benefit of doubt. The other one, man who spent $19,000 to become a wolf, no longer feels human.
Ooh, give me
or
pretty good ones.
Or man dating the most identical twins on the planet says it's unfair he cannot marry them both.
Okay, the twin one. Let's get to that tomorrow. I definitely want to get, but I want to be in studio for that because you are a twin.
I am.
So I feel like I need to see you in person. So today, let's do the first one. The guy who took his uncle, apparently, to try to get the pension.
Yeah. So a family in Ireland have said they're willing to give the benefit of the doubt to their relative whose uncle was declared dead after he arrived with him at the post office in an attempt to collect his pension. So he thought he was going to help him with his uncle back in January 2020, but CCTV footage caught the pair holding his uncle under his arms.
So a Weekend at Bernie situation.
Yeah, his legs dragged along the concrete as the pair made their way to the post office, but when one concerned onlooker confronted them, this individual allegedly responded, "He's grand." Once at the post office.
Clean up before you stuck him in your car, Gold. I assume it wouldn't be great unless you put him in the bed of a truck or something.
The family says that as unhappy and hurt as we are not in a position to condemn him for taking him out of the house dead. There's absolutely no evidence that he did that. There's no evidence to call him a liar. If there's no proof to the other side, you have to give them the benefit of the doubt.
Well, he's not getting that final pension check. I'll say that.
No, he's not.
That's 100% the case. He's not getting that final pension check from his uncle. But outside of that, I guess he should feel pretty good. Because either way, whether he tried to move his uncle and then he died along the way, in which they can't prove that one way or the other, or he was dead. He tried to take a dead man, Weekend at Bernie style, to the post office to cash one more pension check and got away with it, well, then he should feel good either way, shouldn't he? Like, it kind of sucks if you just carried your dead uncle the whole way and got nothing out of it, but at the very least, you're not going to jail. You could both not have that pension check and go to jail.
Yeah, he was sentenced, by the way, earlier this month to 2 years in jail with 6 months suspended for attempted deception. But he walked free 1 week later thanks to time served and remission. So there you go.
Time served. Gold, just, avoid that situation in the future, and I think he'll be okay.
That is the trash of the day. That's the one you picked. I actually thought that would be the one you picked out of the group. It's definitely people are saying that's the third Weekend at Bernie's. That'll be the new movie that comes out.
Was there only 2 of those? You know what's funny is, like,
so?
a movie, like, you ever think about a movie and what it must be like to go into a studio and pitch it? You'd be like, all right, here's my idea for a screenplay. You're like, okay, we're listening. You're like, we're going to have 2 guys go to their uncle's house. They're going to need him to be alive, but then he dies. And then they're going to carry him around town and pretend he's alive the entire time. You're like, what? What kind of messed up thing is to that even think of? And yet we still reference it to this day, even though that movie was made in like the mid-'80s.
Yeah. No, I mean, right away, that's where everybody's mind went when you hear a story like this overall. But someone pointed out, there'll be no movie making right now anyway. Everybody's still on strike. That's true. The writers and actors are still on strike. That's been going on for what? What are we at now? 3 weeks or more? Something like that? Screen Actors Guild?
Yeah, something like that. I'm ready for it to come back. I miss, we
I
don't miss
still
it
haven't
yet,
seen.
but
I
we're
still
gonna
haven't seen. Yeah, it'll impact us months down the road or a year from now or something like that. But the Oppenheimer, I still haven't seen Oppenheimer. Still haven't seen Barbie. Have to figure that out.
Well, I haven't either. But also, as we've previously discussed in the show, my wife currently has a broken ankle.
Right.
So hard to get out of the old house right now, Alex, unless I can secure a babysitter. Or do you think someone with a broken ankle would be comfortable enough at the movie theaters if you just put him in one of those big, like, recliner seats? Not Oppenheimer. That's in there for 4 hours. That's
probably.
Insane.
Unless she's in major pain still. Actually, I think that's probably a nice thing for nice setup.
I mean, it's better than just sitting around the house all the time, right? Sometimes you just want to get out. Sometimes you just want to get out.
That's the trash of the day. Coming up next, Chiefs Red Half Hour. We'll hear from Felix and Udike Uzama, along with Rashee Rice. Plus, there's a scenario that's out there for Clyde Edwards-Helaire I want to run by you next here on Cody and Gold.
Cody and Gold. The Disgusting Brothers. Brought to you
You're clear, Cody.
Asphalt and Concrete. For asphalt, concrete, and parking lot maintenance, Can Asphalt and Concrete. One contractor, all things parking lot. Trusted in Kansas City since 1994. Online at GANNasphalt.com.
Put over $100,000 back in your pocket with the Freedom Loan, exclusive at Cap One Lending. You've heard us talk about the Freedom Loan for years. Here's how it works. It pays mostly principal first, eliminating thousands in interest and taking years off your mortgage, all without changing your spending habits. Call Cap One Lending at 816-905-1111 or apply at caponelending.com. Imagine paying your mortgage off in half the time with half the interest, all with no out-of-pocket closing cost. Whether you're purchasing, refinancing, or taking cash out, call Cap One Lending now and we'll have your loan approved in an hour and ready to close in 10 days. 816-905-1111, 905-1111, or apply at caponelending.com.
Cap One Lending, making your dreams a reality is what we do.
Cap One Lending, a Kansas licensed mortgage company, license number MC0026341, NMLS Missouri license 2468614. Programs and rates subject to change without notice.
What does it mean to be the official information technology provider for the Chiefs? Everything. Technology Group Solutions makes sure everything runs flawlessly for the millions of fans that attend games and the hundreds of millions of fans that comprise Chiefs Kingdom around the world. Technology Group Solutions can deploy that same dedication, problem solving, and incredible service to ensure your business runs smoothly all day, every day, just like your Chiefs. Technology Group Solutions, powering Chiefs Kingdom and ready to do the same for you.
Hey guys, Beat Up here from Fesco in the Morning, wrapping up week number 8 of the Slim for Life program. So glad that I made this life-changing call to the Slim for Life. I am feeling so good. I started this program weighing in at 444 pounds. 8 short weeks later, I am down 52 pounds. That's right, 52 pounds. I know you got that extra weight that you've been wanting to get rid of. What are you waiting for? There's no better time to do it than right now, as when you tell them that you heard it from Beat Up, you can save half off on all program services, exclusive of products. That's right, half price week at Slim for Life has been extended. This is your last chance to save half off on all program services. What are you waiting for? Call my girl Leanne today, right now, at the 119th Metcalf location and set up that free consultation. Call 833-SLIM today. It's 833-754-6863. You'll be like me. I'm now out of the 5Xs, currently moving right through the 4Xs, on my way to the 3XLs. Got so much more to do in life, living happy and healthy. And it's all thanks to Slim for Life. Hit him online today at slim4life.com. Tell him Beat Up from 610 Sports Radio sent you.
He's got the catch! He's got the touchdown!
Be a part of history by attending Chiefs training camp in St. Joseph, Missouri this summer and see the reigning champs up close.
For the second time in 4 seasons, the trophy has a red and gold reflection.
Make the trip to St. Joe something for you and your family to remember. Whether it's touring one of the many museums, staying in a historic home turned bed and breakfast, experiencing quality dining or brewery options, hitting the River Bluff bike trails, or supporting a vibrant art scene, St. Joseph has something for everyone. Go to stjomo.com to view or download a free visitor guide and plan your trip where the Pony Express started and Jesse James ended. Again, that's stjomo.com for all the details to make your trip to Chiefs training camp in St. Joseph, Missouri, one you'll never forget. Produced in cooperation with Visit Missouri.
Or just by walking. You might think this sounds too good to be true, but we think it sounds like Skechers' new Massage Fit sneakers. Because Skechers, the comfort technology company, has designed a unique innovation that makes it feel like you're pampering your feet with a gentle massage in every step. The secret is Skechers' new patented wave technology on the sole that gently massages your feet while you're walking around. It feels amazing and is so gentle you can wear them all day, just like your other favorite Skechers sneakers. And not only will you be getting the massage, you'll also be getting Skechers' other famous comfort features, like a special luxury insole that offers extra support for 24/7 comfort. Plus, they come in a variety of fashionable styles, including lace-up and slip-ons, and they're machine washable for easy care. Get a bonus massage in every step with Skechers' new Massage Fit. Find them for men and women at a Skechers store, Skechers.com, or wherever stylish footwear is sold.
My friend and I are taking a trip to Mexico this year, but neither of us speak Spanish. So we downloaded Babbel and started learning Spanish fast.
Want to start getting conversational in another language? In as little as 3 weeks, Babbel's quick 10-minute lessons were designed by language experts to be the most efficient and effective way to learn a new language.
¿Cómo te llamas?
¿Cómo te llamas?
Babbel, language for life, celebrating 10 million subscriptions sold. Now try Babbel for free at Babbel.com. That's BABBEL.com.
Discover credit cards automatically double all the cash back you earn at the end of your first year. Wait, hold up. Question for the audio engineer. Is this for real?
Apparently. See terms and learn more at discover.com/match.
A chance of severe thunderstorms, high today 85.
Weather brought to you by Staples. At Staples, school savings are always in session. From art supplies and essentials to the latest tech, in stock and priced low. School on, save on at your local Staples store.
The 610 Sports Radio phone line is brought to you by Onder Law Injury Lawyers. Visit getjim.com. Chiefs Red Half Hour every day at 11:30.
Hall of Fame game, which it is. It's the Jets and the Browns, and I'm sure none of the starters are playing, but it's football on my television on Thursday night. I can't wait.
I'm excited. Can't wait. Feel strong because the Hall of Fame game is always so Hall of Fame gamey, but it also does signify the beginning of preseason football. And you know we care about preseason football for at least a game or two. And then we're not interested in anymore because we want regular season football. But we're close, man. I mean, we got to be bordering on like 40 days until the regular season of the NFL, right?
That's right.
And we don't have to wait that long because the Chiefs are the first game. We don't have to wait as long, a few less days than everyone else.
I'll make a promise to you. I will not have any bets on the Hall of Fame game Thursday night. I can promise you that.
You promise?
For this Thursday. Now, I will eventually, we'll be keeping an eye on that Baltimore Ravens trend, right? It's like 26.
Oh, yeah.
It's like 20-something straight wins in the preseason for the Ravens.
It started to get untenable, though. It was like minus 350.
Yeah.
You couldn't bet on it.
Yeah. I don't think the lines are out yet for the Thursday night game anyway. I did look. I just did, obviously. But anyway, there is football. If you need your football fix, Thursday, August 3rd, Jets, Browns in Canton, Ohio. But let's talk more about the Chiefs. We mentioned Irsay Rice, and it's true. Trent McDuffie mentioned his name when we asked him, hey, who are you kind of enjoying going up against? Who's standing out? He said, oh, man, Irsay Rice. And we've heard that time and time again from these Chiefs players. So let's hear from Irsay Rice, who was up at the podium in St. Joe.
Hello. So how is camp going for you? Because last time we talked to you, you were with the rookies. Now you're with the vets. How's it going for you?
It's going pretty good. I think OTAs have helped me be able to adjust just because kind of had the same mentality at OTAs that we have now.
Dealing with camp, dealing with the same with pads on, how different was that for you in going through this process?
Not too much different. I love football and can't play football without pads, so it's just another part of the game.
How much does it add to it to be able to practice in front of fans?
It's pretty cool, honestly. I know Arrowhead, they have a huge fan base, so just to get a little glimpse of it right now, kind of give me a little head start to prepare for the games.
Where do you feel like you still need to fine-tune some things?
Honestly, just certain snap counts and being able to, adjust as far as, when the defense is moving, I need to be able to adjust my certain routes.
There are certain things that every quarterback is going to prefer. Like, what have you learned in the week so far about maybe where Pat wants you to be or do in certain places?
He expects his receivers to be in a specific spot at a specific time, and he's going to bomb the ball. So don't look back and run, look up and run.
Is there along those lines? What is he like as a teacher, as far as teaching you what you need to know?
He's a great coach, a great brother off the field, and he's just gonna let you know exactly what he's thinking, so that you can basically be in his head on and off the field.
Matt Nagy talked as far as getting into his head.
Can you say that again? Yeah, I'm becoming real confident. I think he can see that.
Rasheed, Matt Nagy talked about the timing of Patrick. How important is that, and how have you gone from that adjustment from college to now?
I mean, like I said, just learning how to run out of certain routes and running full speed, just running full speed the whole play.
Do you feel pressure to do what Pat wants and to learn from him, learn the offense so that you can, make an impact? I mean, is there internal pressure you put on yourself because of that?
Honestly, I put pressure on myself every day just to come outside, to come to practice and get better. But it's not necessarily pressure from Pat or Travis or anything like that. They're kind of real welcoming, and they understand that I'm new to the system, so they're just going to help me, catch up to their speed so I can be a vet as soon as I can.
What's been your favorite day of camp and why? And what's been your worst day of camp and why?
I don't necessarily think there's been a worst day at camp. Every day is hard work. I mean, that's kind of comes with it. And then, I mean, my best day, favorite day, it's kind of when I have any kind of impact on the field on offense.
I guess when you say that, when did you sort of feel like that was starting to come on?
I mean, when I caught my first touchdown from Pat, I was kind of like, yeah, I could do this.
Have you thrown up at all since day one?
Nah. A lot of it. I mean, like I said, regardless, whenever Pat is throwing the ball, he's going to be coaching at the same time. So it just he translates that to the practice field as well.
Same way he was doing it back then. Is he pretty similar personality back then as he is now?
Yeah, I mean, if I got a question and if I'm not running the route exactly how he wants it, he's going to let me know how he wants the route run, and then I'm going to keep doing it until we got repetition and constant on that route.
So that's rookie wide receiver Irsay Rice. Spoke a little bit earlier this hour up in St. Joe. And Cody, he said something that we've heard from just about every new wide receiver when they play with Patrick Mahomes, and it's that adjustment of like, hey, when he's my quarterback, you got to keep running, man. The play never ends. You got to keep running. He's going to improvise. He said, don't look back and run, look up and run. That's something we've heard time and time again, and it's good that he's figured that out already.
Well, I mean, one of the key things of earning Pat's trust is to be able to be somewhere that maybe you're not even supposed to be yet. Like, I know that it's a hard thing to learn, but that's where, like, Travis and Juju and these players, and Justin Watson to a point, the players who have had success with Patrick Mahomes can do a little bit of the mind-reading thing where you never stop moving. You think the ball's not coming to you? Well, it might, because Patrick Mahomes is back there, so something you have to get used to. I'm feeling better and better every day about Irsay Rice. I don't know if it's just because the way they're talking about it or even like Trent McDuffie earlier, but, I mean, it just sounds like the kind of guy who might be able to contribute a little faster than Sky Moore did.
So that was Irsay Rice. We'll hear from Felix Anudike-Uzomah, the other Chiefs rookie, in just a couple of minutes. We talked to Pete Sweeney about Felix and the comments from Spag saying, he's now starting to kind of flash out there. He's starting to stand out a little bit. So we'll hear that in a little bit. But there's a good situation developing, it sounds like, at the running back spot with Deneric Prince, the undrafted running back out of Tulsa, where Pete even tweeted out this morning, or yesterday I guess it would have been, that he said, quote, Prince should be written in ink on the Chiefs' 53-man roster, in his opinion, locked in as the kick returner, does not drop a pass, player to watch the first preseason game, which that will not be until August 13th, which is crazy. We still got 2 more weeks till the Chiefs have their first preseason game, but that's a good situation for Kansas City. I still think Richie James could factor into the return game a little bit, but you don't want to, if you're worried about getting reps to your top guys where you're worried about injury, you're worried about them just being worn out for offensive possessions, well, maybe the guy that's going to be your third or fourth back and Deneric Prince returning kicks makes a lot of sense for you. And it sounds like his hands are pretty incredible at this point if he's not dropping passes. That's been going on since day one of camp.
But you and I both know that if he is the fourth back, they're not keeping 5, Gold, which means CH or third back? I mean, or they're not keeping 4, sorry. Who the hell keeps that many backs?
You don't think they're keeping 4?
Not on the active roster, so they're just going to keep Deneric Prince around and never activate him? Or they're just never going to activate Clyde? Something has got to give in that scenario. You and I both know that if they got 4 running backs, only 3 are going to be active on game day and matter regularly for them. And 2 of them are for sure as hell going to be Pacheco and McKinnon, which means if Deneric Prince is for sure making the 53-man roster, to me, if you're going to keep a 53-man roster spot on a 4th running back, they got to play. They got to be active on game days because every other 4th back they've kept on the 53 Gold has been the Melvin Gordons of the world, the guy who wears, a T-shirt on Sundays and doesn't ever even get a chance to see a field.
So I think you're right that they're not going to have 4 active on game day. I think 4 on the 53 is a possibility. 4 on the 53 is possible. Active on game day, I'm with you. And in that scenario, if it's true that he ends up being, talking about Prince, if he ends up being the kick returner for this team, well, then obviously Clyde would be the guy that's not active. I think that's pretty clear, assuming everybody else is healthy. This is still why I'm keeping an eye out. I know there's a lot of free agent running backs still there. But as we get probably a month from now, really, if there's other injuries in other organizations, is a trade still a possibility, a conditional 7th-round pick for Clyde Edwards-Helaire? I think that's still a scenario that could play out that requires other injuries or requires guys staying healthy on the Chiefs, too, because you got to make it through all of camp with Pacheco and Clyde and McKinnon and Prince all staying healthy. You hope they all are able to do that, but there's a lot of time still to the beginning of the season. I looked this up, though, Cody, because we're talking about how many backs could keep on the roster for the Chiefs. How many can they keep? Last year they kept 4 on the 53 out of camp. 2021 they kept 3. 2020 they kept 3. 18 and 19 they kept 4. So they've definitely kept 4. That's not been a problem. And this year they're not keeping a fullback, we know, right? So I think it's definitely, I think 4 is not crazy at all.
I mean, it's not out of the question, but again, you are essentially telling the guy you drafted in the first round 3 years ago, you are a healthy scratch every week. That is not, and it's not their fault. Clyde should demand a trade if that's the case. He shouldn't want to be anywhere near it. If he is the 4th back on a 4-man depth chart, as in he's not going to be active on game day, he should try to get out. Because if he's the 3rd guy, Gold, you still have a chance, right? One guy goes down. Pacheco's got to miss a half. You get 8 carries. You look great in those 8 carries. You might go find yourself another opportunity. But if you aren't even active on game days, then that time that Pacheco's gone for a second half and you get all those carries, go to Jerick McKinnon and Deneric Prince, the guy who would knock you off. And they don't have to be loyal to a first-round pick. This is why we said they shouldn't have taken a first-round running back in the first place. They don't have to be loyal to it in any way. But it's, it's kind of weird for the 4th back, the veteran guy, buried on your depth chart, to be the guy you took in the first round.
It is, but we know they like to have depth there because typically you're going to have backs that wear down and get hurt. I mean, Clyde himself was that guy. Unfortunately, he got hurt last year. It opened the door for Pacheco. He ran with it. McKinnon might miss a game or two because he's nicked up. There's going to be something like that inevitably that happens with the running back position this year. So I think the Chiefs would be fine with keeping that. You're saying just if you're Clyde, would you be okay with it? Well, this goes back to the whole supply-demand thing. I mean, how many teams are willing, a $3 million cap hit right now, I think, for Clyde this year? How many other teams are willing to deal with some of that? And so that also comes into play when we're talking about potential trades and situations. But it's a good problem to have if you're the Chiefs.
I'll say this. Again, the number's not insanely high because they got an undrafted free agent, a 7th-round rookie, and Jerick McKinnon makes peanuts.
Mm-hmm.
But you don't typically – that's the other thing about the 4th running back. You don't typically pay your 4th running back $2.5 million, $3 million. Starting to get awfully expensive for a 4th running back when there's a million available free agent ones. But also that poses the problem that we just talked about, which is – well, you don't want to get nothing for him, right? You don't want to just give him away.
Wise, McKinnon's a vet. You know what you're getting. You're not worried about him being ready. So really it is all about Prince, Clyde, and then there's probably some guy that we haven't even mentioned, right, that's never going to make the team, but he's going to get some carries during preseason.
Yeah, but, those are the ones. To me, I like the idea of playing them both, to pit them up against each other just to make sure. If you got to cut bait with Clyde, then cut bait. If Deneric Prince is better, man, then just have the better running back here. Find some other veteran to be the 4th guy on this roster and move on with your day. To me, you just go ahead and make those decisions now because they're easier. Once you get a sense of how they operate inside your system. I know training camps and preseason games sometimes are more or less important, like the way Pete just said. But in that situation, find out. Find out which guy's better. Is it Clyde or is it Deneric Prince? And the way Pete's talking about it, Deneric Prince is a damn lock on the 53-man roster, which would be about half the time they carry 4 guys, so I guess we shouldn't be surprised.
He was on our, one of the top, we did our top 3 guys to watch during camp when we were heading up to St. Joe for the first time. And Prince was on that list, and he's done nothing to change that. In fact, it's made him more intriguing and makes, if you're really looking 2 weeks down the road for the first preseason game, he's probably towards the very top of the list, along with Rashee Rice, of guys you really want to see in that preseason game, just based off the early reports and what we've seen a little bit up in St. Joe. Another guy might be Felix Anudike-Uzomah, who got some praise from Steve Spagnuolo a little bit earlier today. Here's actually what Felix had to say about how camp is going so far for him.
Felix, just where do you see your progress right now?
It's a day-to-day process. At the same time, I'm learning every day. I'm trying to get better every day as I go. So at the end of the day, it's a day process. I'm just learning the playbook and technique-wise. So, yeah.
How much did not being able to participate physically in the OTAs affect you coming into training camp?
Affected me quite a bit. I'm not gonna lie, because a lot of the rookies obviously had to learn technique-wise, going to field full speed and stuff like that, and I had to jump back because of my injury and stuff like that. But now I'm in here. Now I'm in training camp. So it's just training camp's a great time to be. Time to get your footwork down and get everything down, so to be ready for the preseason and the season.
Steve Spagnuolo just said you're climbing, and he thinks that you're flashing now. Do you agree with that assessment that you're climbing and flashing?
I agree that I'm learning every day. I'm learning exactly what the coaches have for me in store, just learning technique-wise. So, and I thank him for saying that. At the end of the day, that I'm still learning. I'm still not there yet, and I got some learning to do. So yeah.
How close is this to what you expected would be your first training camp?
How close? Obviously, I had to step back from OTAs, so that it's kind of a jump back, but I'm slowly getting to the hang of it. A lot of more stuff, and I'm dropping back, so it's a lot of stuff that I got to learn. So yeah.
In the back to close it out.
I've seen Deuce has been making some noise down in Dallas. Have you stayed in contact with him? And
Yeah, we talk almost every day. He just tells me his experience with him with the Cowboys. I tell him my experience I have here. So yeah, we keep in contact a lot.
So that's Felix Anudike-Uzomah, and that last question was about Deuce Vaughn, who's in camp.
Looks like a middle schooler out there in Cowboys camp. You see how small he looks? Looks like the tiniest person on the field.
Especially when they're wearing those Guardian caps, which, again, if you've been to camp, you know what those are. If you've been to camp, the extra caps that are on top of the helmets. And he looks like the you guys ever play, like, Bomberman, the video game? He kind of looks like one of those characters, Deuce Vaughn does,
he just
when
looks
he has
so
the
tiny.
Guardian cap on. Or, like, just looks like Toad.
Yeah, you're going to have to, like, when you see a player like that, you're like, I hope you're good at avoiding hits, because I feel like one might break you in half. I don't want to say for sure. He played major Power 5 football in big-time games against NFL-caliber players at times.
Yeah.
But God, when you see him on an NFL field, you're like, you look so tiny.
Now, as far as Felix goes, I mean, what he was talking about prior to that last question, and all the learning curve, right? Adjusting to the scheme, adjusting to what they're going to ask him to do, and dropping back a little bit. That is why I still look at Karlaftis' track last year. I'm not saying that Felix is going to be a 6.
Playing on him as much as they did him, which kind of stinks, because if Anudike-Uzomah was George Karlaftis level right out of the door as a rookie defensive end, you wouldn't feel this pressure for them to go find some veteran defensive end like you and I both still think they need to do. It's like the only remaining thing I'm like, yeah, go ahead and go do that. Go get a Carlos Dunlap. Go get whoever. We don't really – Gold, you and I aren't overly particular. We both be good with Dunlap.
Yeah, I still think that is going to happen. I mean, he's still sitting out. What are you waiting for? He hasn't signed with anybody else. I think Carlos is kind of waiting this thing out. I'm sure there's been some communication with him. Don't you?
I would think so. Like, just logic tells me, yeah, probably. I mean, he had 4 sacks for you last year, had 8.5 sacks the year before. He was pretty much the identical player. They were the number 2 sack team in the NFL. He was a part of that. He played in all 17 games for the Chiefs last year. Yeah. He's played in 16 or 17 games, like 9 of the last 10 years. So, I mean, he'll be there. He'll be available. Yeah, probably. I still wonder if this goes back to, do we really want to move somebody else's money around, or can Carlos wait long enough for us to get this Chris Jones deal done?
And nothing new there, by the way. I saw someone ask on the text line.
No?
Yeah, nothing new. I'm not surprised. We're not expecting anything. I think you got to wait till the preseason game's August 13th. I think you wait till closer to that preseason game to see if you start getting any more traction. That'll be another 2 weeks at that point, and see if there's any progress and conversations. It sounds like, again, things have been very, very quiet, if any communication, since I still believe that they were really caught off guard that not that there was a disagreement on numbers, but I think they still thought he was going to show up, and I think that really put things backwards on this whole deal.
Yeah, I think that began the bad communication part of when Andy started getting frustrated, because he just thought he'd show up and work in good faith and they'd get a deal done, and Chris Jones decided to be hardball because he wants his number, and he knows by not talking to them and not showing up and saying, talk to my agent, you are essentially creating that situation, which is clearly what he's going for. And again, you and I don't blame him. He deserves to be paid like a top-end defensive lineman in the NFL. But this is, if you make you feel any better, the Chiefs aren't alone. I mean, Jim Irsay is threatening to put a guy in the NFI list. Jerry Jones was just talking trash on Zach Martin. He's like, what, I'm going to pay him? I'm paying Micah Parsons. He straight up said, I'm not paying him the money he wants. I got to pay this other player the money he wants instead. And that player is more important. So, like Chris Jones and the Chiefs right now, they are not alone. There seems to be some major rifts from star or star-level talented players and their organizations right now. So the Chiefs are just amongst the many.
Our Chiefs training camp coverage is brought to you by Twin Peaks. Eat, drink, scenic views. Coming up a little bit later on, we'll get into the feud that continues between the Jets and the Broncos. It's definitely heating up, and it's setting up for a heck of a Week 5 when those two teams are going to square off. We'll also get to what's trending and back into what this offense peak level actually is and what's not possible for them this year here on Cody and Gold.
Cody and Gold.
The facts on this show.
You're clear, Cody.
Brought to you by Gann Asphalt and Concrete. For asphalt, concrete, and parking lot maintenance, Gann Asphalt and Concrete. One contractor, all things parking lot. Trusted in Kansas City since 1994. Online at GANNasphalt.com.
Tailgates in turkey? Yes, please. This season, score a touchdown with U.S. soy-fed turkey. Versatile, tasty, and truly different, turkey can be used for succulent sliders, killer kebabs, championship chili, or even brilliant burnt ends. You can get all the recipes and register for a chance to win the ultimate prize pack worth nearly $2,000, including a portable Traeger grill, Yeti cooler, Chiefs gear, and much more at tailgatewithturkey.com. You'll be the pride of the parking lot. Come on, KC, turn up your tailgate at tailgatewithturkey.com.
Made to shine. Real stories from Shane Company customers.
I was 20 years old, stationed in Hawaii, and 2 weeks before I was deployed, I met the love of my life. The second I returned, I bought a cheap ring at the Base Exchange and proposed. 15 years later, I went to Shane Company and got her a one-of-a-kind ring with a pear-shaped diamond. It's the ring she deserves.
Shine forever with Shane Company's hand-selected diamonds, as unique as your love story. Shane Company, fine jewelry since 1929.
Hey, it's Carrington Harrison from The Drive here. Do you remember how cold it got this winter? Well, it was a chilly one. And if you noticed the cold air pouring through those old leaky windows, well, guess what? When it gets hot this summer, the exact opposite is going to happen. All of that cool air is going to escape through those leaky windows, and that hot air is going to come in. So I'm telling you right now to replace those old windows and keep your house cool this summer with the official window of the Kansas City Chiefs over at Window World. Their windows are one of 2 windows with the Good Housekeeping seal of approval, a lifetime warranty that covers all parts, glass breakage, and labor. And right now, Window World is offering 18 months same as cash financing with approved credit. So pick up the phone right now and call this number for a free home estimate, 816-799-0820. And they can show you how they are simply the best for less. Remember this phone number,
816-799-0.com/truck.
For the ones who work hard to ensure their crew can always go the extra mile, and the ones who get in early so everyone can go home on time, there's Grainger, offering professional-grade supplies backed by product experts so you can quickly and easily find what you need. Plus, you can count on access to a committed team ready to go the extra mile for you. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
O'Reilly. Did you know 1 in 4 car batteries is weak and needs to be replaced? O'Reilly Auto Parts will test your battery for free. If your battery needs to be replaced, our professional parts people can help you find the right Super Start battery for your vehicle and budget. Don't wait. Get your battery tested for free today at your local O'Reilly Auto Parts.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
DQ presents How to Fancy Up Any Occasion. Step 1, grab the Caramel Fudge Cheesecake Blizzard from DQ. Step 2, break out your fanciest sweatpants and park yourself in your comfiest chair. Step 3, kick back and bask in the luxury of salted caramel, rich fudge, and decadent cheesecake pieces blended in world-famous DQ soft serve. Fancy? Achieved. No formal wear required. DQ. Happy tastes good.
If you're hiring, it can feel like you're trying to find a needle in a haystack. You can hope the right person comes along, or you can just use ZipRecruiter. And now you can try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. In fact, ZipRecruiter has helped a lot of business owners find their needle in a haystack, like Marco, president of operations at Telly Tires and Auto Centers. Because Telly Tires has grown a lot in the last few years, Marco needed to hire everyone from a receptionist to a store manager to a head mechanic.
ZipRecruiter helps me find all the right people, even the most difficult jobs to fill. ZipRecruiter helps me keep my business running.
Take it from Marco and millions of other businesses who've used ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter can help you find the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. That's ZipRecruiter.com/RADIO. ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire.
Dispatch, this is Mindy at Mission Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling.
Well, boy, it's getting hot out there. Now, if your AC is making funny noises, just needs a once-over, or your home isn't as cool as it used to be, visit MissionPHC.com. Mission Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. License 202909.
Hi, I'm Henry Winkler. My eyes are very important to me. My eyes connect me with things I love. I loved my late father-in-law dearly. He always lit up a room, but his vision dimmed with age. He had age-related macular degeneration, or AMD. And since partnering with Apellis, I've learned there's an advanced form of the disease called geographic atrophy, or GA. His struggle with vision loss made me want to help others know about GA's warning signs. For some, straight lines seem wavy, like when looking at a door frame. For others, blurry or missing spots can make it hard to read or see loved ones' faces. Many have trouble seeing in low light, making driving at night difficult. GA gets worse over time and cannot be reversed. If you've been diagnosed with AMD and notice vision changes, don't wait. Talk to your eye doctor about GA today. Learn more at GAWon'tWait.com. That's GAWon'tWait.com.
You're listening to 610 Sports Radio from the Max Motors Studios. Cody and Gold will be live from the practice field during training camp this summer with live press conferences, exclusive one-on-one player interviews. Tune in weekdays starting at 10 right here on 610 Sports Radio. KCSP.
About a week ago.
He's got a 14.73 ERA and 5 outings with the Braves and Rangers this year. We'll talk more about that move a little bit later on.
Next up on What's Trending, according to Peter King over at Sports Illustrated, Bengals quarterback Joe Burrow will appear in Season 2 of the Netflix quarterback series. Obviously, lately, Gold, all we've been hearing about is all the people who have turned it down, both in year 1 and in year 2. But they got their star for the series. They got Joe Burrow. They need one massive name, and they got it, at least according to Peter King. I'll be fascinated to see. I feel like sometimes he comes off as this cool, calm, collected dude, but we know he's got some swagger and a little bit of attitude towards it. Plus, from a Chiefs perspective, obviously I'm fascinated by how Cincinnati does this. All I want to see now is how they handle losing in the AFC title game to the Chiefs. That'll make the series so sweet.
Yeah.
So sweet if they go down to the Chiefs in the playoffs.
I also want to see how do they handle right now because he's dealing with a calf injury and one that's going to keep him out a couple weeks in camp. We don't at this point know if it's going to impact the regular season, but what's that like? Cameras are everywhere. Again, he will have control, much like Mahomes did, in terms of what makes the show, what doesn't. So that's also another interesting thing, like who opens up more off the field. I still think it's different when you're someone that's on the show that's married with kids versus someone that's not. So I'll be curious just to see how that plays out. But you're right, they needed a big name, and they certainly got Joe Burrow now.
You know what they need? They need one single quarterback who really likes to date women. Just essentially just like 1/3 of the episode every week is just like The Bachelor.
It would be
right?
fun.
I mean, come on.
It would be a lot of fun. That's what I'm saying.
Your dating life would be so weird as a professional NFL quarterback versus like having a wife and kids.
But that's what I'm saying. That's why I think some of the younger quarterbacks also don't want to be on the show because it's like, do you really want that? Do you really want that on the show? For us as the viewer, hell yeah.
They show you scrolling through your Instagram, swiping right, hitting a DM. It'd
be hilarious.
Yeah.
Next up on What's Trending, some running back news out of Indianapolis. This time it doesn't have anything to do directly with Jonathan Taylor, but running back Zach Moss suffered a broken arm at practice today, according to Mike Garafolo. Expected to miss about 6 weeks. So again, maybe 2 or 3 games, but when you have Jonathan Taylor, your star back that is requested a trade, when you have the owner in some reports threatening maybe to put you on the non-football injury list, you got a slight bit of leverage, more so than maybe you had before if you're Jonathan Taylor. If you're not going to play, all of a sudden they're down to the 3rd back in that offense. So something to keep an eye on in Indy.
Especially if you're in a big swing year. This is a huge year for Ballard. He took the massive swing with the quarterback finally in the top 5 in Richardson, who I think is out of practice today because he had like septum surgery, which you might need, Alex.
Man,
Some sort of
let
nasal
me
surgery.
tell you, man.
You might be barreling towards that, my guy.
Yeah, I mean, Anthony Richardson had septum, so I'm assuming deviated septum surgery today. Now it's clearing the way for Anthony Richardson to win Rookie of the Year. That was the one thing holding him back. But yeah,
like
man,
yeah.
You know what it takes? Like right now, I'm trying another office. It's ridiculous right now. This is my get off my lawn thing, I guess, although to me it's an actual problem. You know what it takes about right now 3 months out to try to get a doc's appointment with just a primary care physician?
Not even just like an EMT. You're not even like going to see like an ear, nose, and throat doctor?
I think I need to see a primary first to then refer you, right?
Oh,
Isn't that how that works?
God.
I don't know. But anyway, yeah, maybe it is. Whatever. At this point, I'm open for any and all solutions for this ongoing nasal problem. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, you got to do something about it. Lastly, on What's Trending, Paul Rubens, the actor best known for portraying Pee Wee Herman, has passed away at the age of 70 after what they called a quiet battle with cancer. I watched Pee Wee Herman a lot as a kid. Big fan of that show. I also think Pee Wee's Big Adventure holds up, just for what it's worth. Have you seen that movie before?
I have not.
No? Are you familiar with the character Pee Wee Herman?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm also,
I know you're a little younger than me. I'm just asking if you were familiar with Pee Wee Herman.
Unfortunately, my lasting, the last time
Is it
I
the
heard
movie theater thing?
was the thing that happened many years ago where he was arrested and charged with exposing himself inside an adult theater.
Yeah.
That's what I think
so
of.
much going on in his life after that.
That's what I think of when I hear his name. Sorry.
I felt like you were going to say you remember him from Mystery Men or something.
No. Lastly, this is just coming in, Cody, as well. Reports out of Denver, a radio host there that I follow who does some local radio, Ryan Edwards, mentioning Tim Patrick, who's a wide receiver for the Denver Broncos. Down on the field, non-contact, screamed in anger, threw his helmet and gloves off, cart coming out. Russell Wilson, a trainer, helping him to the cart. So no concrete info other than that's one to keep an eye on, man. It's another player, non-contact injury, one of their, number 3 receiver on that team or so.
That would be, for a team that I told you was going to finish last in the division, that's certainly not something that helps them. But honestly, at this point, Russell Wilson needs as much of the help he can get.
Yeah.
They're down one more wide receiver. They tried to recruit some more, it felt like, this offseason. They were in the running for a couple of other guys. They just couldn't secure a bid. That's a loss for them. He's not a mega superstar, but he is certainly a valuable receiver for them.
Yeah, James Palmer just tweeted out more info on Tim Patrick. After being carted off the field, Broncos wide receiver Tim Patrick used crutches to go into the facility. His left leg was the one he was using the crutches for. So he's already on crutches that quickly.
And remember, Tim Patrick's the one that was injured last year too and missed the season too, and they thought that was a big miss for them in the offense.
Yeah, they certainly could use Tim Patrick's services. Let's hope that it's just something minor, but keeping an eye on that. We'll let you know if we get any update. That is what's trending here on Cody and Gold. Our Chiefs training camp coverage comes from you in St. Joe inside the Ag Power broadcast tent. Score big this year with your home team John Deere dealer, Ag Power. Visit agpower.com for more. If you're just now tuning into the show, Cody's up in St. Joe. Camp practice wrapped about an hour ago. I'm in Kansas City. We want to make sure we were able to bring you Cody and Gold today. So we want to make sure with the weather in the area that we were going to be connected right at 10 o'clock. So 2 different spots. You and I don't know if we've done a show like this in a while where we're both in 2 different locations. But here we are.
Ever? Have we ever done a show like this? Even during COVID, you were coming to my basement, or I went to your apartment a couple of times.
I think the one would be when I was in Baltimore. I think I was in studio in Baltimore after the Chiefs Sunday night game, and the next morning I did a show from the station there, and I think you were in studio here. That might be the last time we did something like that.
So, yeah, that's probably the last time. All right, so, well, we got to make the adjustments sometimes. Also, that guy who said it was going to rain at 11:30, it hasn't so much as sprinkled.
Well, that's good. Did you want it to?
No, I really didn't. I would rather just stay dry, our equipment stays dry, and everything worked. When I first got here, the power cable and the power strip, just soaked. So the power strip, I shook all the water. Those things are kind of designed to be able to take some water and not get in the internal components.
You sure?
Well, kind of.
You didn't get electrocuted, so
it's not an outdoor rated one, so maybe not that one. I shook all the water out. I took a towel to the inside of it. Then I stuck it in front of a fan for 15 minutes. But then just like the regular outdoor rated power cable wasn't working. So then IT had to come down here and gave me a new, completely different run cable, which does seem to be working for what it's worth. And I didn't get electrocuted because I'm still using that power strip. So I would say all good now.
I'm looking up clips of Pee-wee's Big Adventure because people are saying, how have you not seen it? And I'm
Dude,
looking at
it's a
clips.
great, absolutely holds up. Great flick.
I'm looking at clips. I actually think I've seen bits and pieces of this now that I'm seeing some of them, but it's not a
Large Marge.
I don't remember anything about the movie.
I mean, I feel like you know.
Just,
that's
again,
a movie
my
you sort of
opinion
seen
is
somewhere along
my opinion is just like Creeper. That's kind of that's what I remember.
That's
him
your
as.
initial thought,
yeah,
huh?
Yes. When I hear his name, the first thing I thought of was the movie theater and Creeper. Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry.
No, it's okay.
You know.
I didn't know. I didn't know.
Oh, here we. Is that a real account? Hold on. Okay, this is from. Nope, that's an old account. That's what I thought. Wanted to make sure. Before I said something on the air, making sure something was not from a fake account.
Well, I see the person on the text line who is saying, but then I also see that I believe that's a celebrity hoax.
Yes, that's why.
So
Always double check. That person's very much alive and well.
We've killed people off on this show before,
Uh-huh.
so we got to be careful.
Let's hold off on that.
I guess maybe we need to get you to see Pee-wee's Big Adventure.
I guess. Sure. Fine.
Will you watch it?
I mean, sure. Fine. I would rather see Oppenheimer.
Well, I mean, yeah, but it's not in a theater. You can just watch it at home, I assume.
Okay.
It's probably just on, like, Prime or something. I don't know. You know how it works. Some of these big companies like to take advantage of this and be like, oh, well, let's just make his movies $2.99 all of a sudden.
Yeah, I mean, this happens with artists. I mean, when Michael Jackson passed away, all his songs went to the top of the iTunes charts or whatever, like, and people were buying songs like crazy. What was it, last week or 2 weeks ago when Sinead O'Connor passed away, and her song went way up to the, it just happens. It's people look up some of the.
You're not going to be the only one flocking to go see Pee-wee's Big Adventure. That's the point.
There you go. There you go. You're up at camp. Obviously, we've talked a lot about this offense and where it can be. And you and I both believe that one way or the other, they're going to be a top 5 offense in football. They were the number 1 offense in football a year ago. And to me, trying to come up with scenarios where that doesn't happen, the only one that I can come up with, Cody, is the 2 worst case things, which is somehow your quarterback doesn't play a majority of the season, or Travis Kelce either gets hurt or isn't that same tight end. And those are both obviously very small chances of happening. And so this is one way or the other, whether it's Rashee Rice being a bigger player than we thought, whether it's Kadarius Toney actually being healthy, whether it's Sky Moore taking the big leap. I mean, to me, this offense will get there.
I think so, too. You and I are in agreement that I think no matter who's catching the football right now, I still have to, after last season, have to kind of just have blind faith that if it's Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes, and especially because I know they have a good offensive line, I am to blindly just accept they are a top 5 offense, which is why I'm here to tell you if they finish outside of that, it's a disappointment. And we should all discuss and view it that way, that they missed something in their talent evaluation, or they missed something in their drafting, or they missed something in their free agent acquisition. I'll be honest, largely I would be putting this on Brett Veach. The conversation we're having here is that it would be a disappointment if they were if they weren't a top 5 offense, is I'd be putting that on Brett Veach. You should have been more aggressive. You should have looked at the talent you had on the roster and realized that even Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid need a little something, right? That you can't just take the wrong second-round wide receivers, because that's what it'll start to feel like, right? Or you couldn't banked on, because they'll be like, well, Tony was hurt the whole year. Be like, no. He could get hurt the whole year, and you can't be like, well, we finished 7th and it's fine. No. You went after a injured and oft-injured wide receiver. That's on you. You didn't have a backup plan. The only 2 players I think that I would let the pass go, other than Mahomes, obviously, the only 2 players I think I'd give a pass on where if they finished outside of that, I wouldn't just deem it a failure, right? I think, for sure, Travis Kelce, and I think Jawan Taylor, because I feel like in any given season, if you lose a starting tackle, I can accept some variance, but for sure Kelce, and that might be the end of the list.
The way where you're like, all right, they finished 6, 7, or 8, which is still a top 10 offense, and you say, all right, can they still go and accomplish what everybody judges them by these days, which is winning a championship or not? If that defense, and we talked to Trent McDuffie earlier today, you'll hear that conversation again in the 1 o'clock hour. If that defense is more opportunistic, if Trent McDuffie is catching a few of those picks instead of maybe having a couple drops, as he acknowledged, if Nick Bolton's conversation that he had up with the podium a couple days ago, if it's true that they can be better in the red zone, if all that happens, right, and they're a 10, 11, 12th ranked defense, well, that's how you make up for the offense suddenly being an outside of a top 5 offense, which I don't think will happen. But that's how you balance the two.
Yeah, I think so. This is why you and I have the ultimate faith. I'm not having the conversation around this telling you that I'm expecting them. I'm expecting us in Week 17 to have this conversation. Largely, this is about these are the expectations I'm still holding you to. And I think everyone should hold them to. If we're halfway through the season, Gold, and they are the 7th-ranked points-per-game offense, we should be talking about how they maybe should have handled this thing differently. Not because, maybe Tony missed a little bit more time or the knee's taking a little longer to recover for whatever, right? Not those conversations. We'd be talking about how they didn't prepare themselves for this moment. I do believe in Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid pretty much under any circumstances. Although Aaron Rodgers was at like the peak of his powers. And there were still times when, and he's a first ballot Hall of Famer, one of the most talented quarterbacks in NFL history. But they didn't put talent around him. It was a struggle. And the same as Tom Brady. Tom Brady took a step out of New England, immediately won a Super Bowl, and was on a top 5 offense in the NFL the next day when they put some people around him. And Mahomes is younger than that.
That's it.
And I think that Andy Reid is a better offensive coach than Bill Belichick ever was. But I still think that the offensive line is what actually gives me confidence that I can say this and hold them to that standard. Because even if the wide receivers aren't good, Mahomes is going to have time.
Yeah, you always want to surround him with talent, and you can get away with it a little bit more when he's not 38 years old, to your point, in the comparisons you were making there.
Yeah.
You can get by with that. Also, I know you're not saying this, but let's not act like he doesn't have any talent around him. I mean, Travis Kelce is a future Hall of Famer, number 1 wide receiver, might as well be him.
MVS is a perfectly fine wide receiver, and they've spent draft picks on the others.
Yeah, and the offensive line is going to be one of the best in football. They got a middle-of-the-road running back, I would say, and Isaiah Pacheco, probably going to be the 12th, 15th best running back in football this year. They've got some wide receivers that I still think have some upside. They're just not proven yet. I mean, so
Tony included, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So there's plenty of talent there. It's just it's a question because we got to see it actually happen for some of those young wide receivers as well. We'll get back into, as we mentioned, what's trending the Royals a little bit coming up at 12:30 with Nicky Lopez, now a member of the Atlanta Braves, and the reaction that has come with that. Also, what Vern said this morning was kind of surprising to me on Fesco in the morning about Nicky Lopez. So we'll get to that in 15 minutes or so. But elsewhere in the NFL, man, Aaron Rodgers, Sean Payton, the Jets, the Broncos, there's certainly a few that's building towards Week 5. I can't wait for Week 5 when those two teams square off, because last week it was first the Sean Payton comments, right, saying Nathaniel Hackett, who's now the OC in New York, worst coaching job in football last year. Again, he's not wrong. It was one of the worst coaching jobs in football. But he called out the Jets for having Hard Knocks like it was their choice and all this. Some unnecessary shots probably towards Robert Saleh. I think we acknowledged at the time. Well, since then, Sean Payton has tried to smooth things over a little bit. Here's what he had to say, first of all, regretting what he said.
Yeah, listen, I had one of those moments where I still had my Fox hat on and not my coaching hat on. And, I said this to the team in the meeting yesterday. We've had a great off season relative to that, and I've been preaching that message, and here I am, the veteran, stepping in it. And, it was a learning experience for me. It was a mistake, obviously. I needed a little bit more filter. There's a pound of flesh for these guys. And as a coach, you stick up for them. And after a while, we're past that season last year. And I said what I said. And obviously, I needed it a little bit more restraint. And I regret that.
So that was late last week. He was kind of backtracking after his comments to USA Today, went viral, and certainly had everybody talking. And I appreciated the candor and honesty, but also he certainly had to have known when he was saying that there was going to be some reaction from the Jets and from others. I still think he's trying to take pressure off his quarterback. You took it as, hey, he's trying to have a softer landing for if the Broncos are going to fail this year. Aaron Rodgers kind of agrees with you. Then Aaron Rodgers was on NFL Network talking to Pete Schrager, I think it was, and Rodgers said this in regards to Sean Payton's comments.
It made me feel bad that someone who's accomplished a lot in the league is that insecure that they have to take another man down to set themselves up for some sort of easy fall if it doesn't go well for that team this year. I thought it was way out of line and inappropriate, and I think he needs to keep my coach's names out of his mouth.
So he went Will Smith at the end, Cody. Basically went with the Will Smith approach. Keep my coach's mouth out your damn mouth is basically what he's saying.
Yeah, it's really good. And Aaron Rodgers, this is why it's good for him to be in New York. He's right. Shut up, man. You trying to cover your ass? Is that what this is? Because it's one thing to bag on Hackett. What the hell did the rest of the Jets organization have to do with this? Right? They didn't sign up for Hard Knocks out of the goodness of their heart. All the reports were is that the Jets didn't even want to do it. And just because a guy's a failure of a head coach doesn't make him a bad coordinator. He was the offensive coordinator for MVP seasons for Aaron Rodgers. How do you think he's going to feel about you just saying the guy's a loser? And a lot of this comes back to the same thing. It's like it just feels so punching down, right? Like I'm just punching down, because Sean Payton, you and I have talked about this, has underperformed based on his reputation. He had a top 3-5 quarterback in the NFL the entire time, and now he's taking shots at one of the worst coaching jobs in NFL history. The reason is why. But the question is why. The thing I like about this is it has added an excellent, non-expected storyline to the NFL offseason. I wasn't planning on Jets and Broncos fans hating each other. Hell, our guy Vinny Pasquantino was tweeting about it, saying like, hey, I guess we're all in the same boat now. I also hate the Denver Broncos, which is exactly the way it should be because he was taking him down for absolutely no reason at all. But you have to admit, you like the fighting, don't you? Especially when it's not your teams.
It's a lot of fun, and certainly if you're someone that's a Chiefs fan, you hope the Jets beat them. It was Week 5 when they play each other. You hope the Jets beat the Broncos. Just to go ahead and just in case you think there's any chance of it actually mattering for the Broncos competition in the AFC West this year. But yeah, you're hoping certainly that's the case. Text line's crushing me. We can get the drop or whatever. I butchered the Will Smith.
Yeah, you said mouth and mouth twice. It wasn't great.
Yeah, I know. Why didn't you say it? Why didn't you call me out?
Well, I was, we're not in person. I was trying to let you off the hook a little bit.
You knew what I meant. I said it wrong. I knew I said it wrong.
I thought you heard it. I just thought maybe I should let you have one.
You should have called me out right away.
It just
JT, one of you.
Weird.
Well, I didn't want to call you out. I'm the intern. I'm like, oh,
Fair
crap.
enough.
Yeah, I don't want to call you out for that.
He's a good God, Gold. You butchered that so bad.
Yes, I did. You all knew what I meant, but I did butcher it. Yeah, keep your wife's name.
My wife's name out your MF and mouth, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you said keep his mouth out of his mouth. And I don't know what that means. Maybe they're talking about kissing. I'm not sure which version of that.
You know what I meant. You know what I meant.
We all knew the reference you were making.
Uh-huh.
You should have just had that soundbite ready
Well,
so
I didn't
that
have
you
it ready.
could have not said it.
I did not have that ready. But that's basically what Aaron Rodgers was doing.
I think maybe
though.
he was even referencing that. I could
That's
be wrong.
exactly what Aaron Rodgers was doing.
Hey, man,
I still don't really have overall, other than the calling out the Jets separately and Robert Saleh, I don't have an issue with what Sean Payton said because everything he said about Nathaniel Hackett, one of the worst coaching jobs in NFL history, I think that was accurate, man.
But for a team who's trying to make the postseason under the first year in Sean Payton, he's trying to show improvement. He just put a massive target on his team's back for Week 5. The Jets are going to want to go out and rip their throats out, right? I mean, they're just going to want to go for blood. Also, you know the people who should really be pissed about this? Looking back on the comments, sure, Nathaniel Hackett and the Jets in a little bit, he pretty much trashed every other member of the organization, too. He's like, what were the GMs doing? What were these other people doing? Bunch of losers, the whole lot of them. He's calling out ownership, essentially. I'm like, I'm surprised that nobody else is pissed at Sean Payton.
Yeah.
He pretty much called out every single person associated with the Denver Broncos, not named Russell Wilson. He's like, Russ, you're good, man. You're cool, bro. It's fine. Everyone else sucks ass. You're great.
Did you just suddenly walk through a wind tunnel? What the heck's going
I don't
on
know.
up there?
A little gust from the gods cost me there. I don't know what to
Okay.
tell you.
I was just wondering what
Wind's
suddenly
starting
happened.
to pick up a little bit, I guess.
So maybe the man was saying it was going to happen at 12:30 and not 11:30.
That's possible. Look, I am reserving the right that if all of a sudden there's a giant lightning storm to just pack all this stuff up and find myself out of this practice field. But as of right now, it feels fine. They haven't told me to come shelter in place or whatever like they did Bob. Or if you guys saw the photos or videos from our guy Dusty Likens and Pete on Saturday, that massive shelf cloud that came in.
Let's be honest.
And
Are they really coming down to you at 1 o'clock or 12:30 today and saying, hey, Cody, we think you need to go to a safer spot. Let's be real. That's not happening.
No.
You and I both know that's not.
They've all forgotten that I'm even here. I guess I could go hit the sled now, so I got that going for me. There's just one guy on a mower. He's not going to say anything.
Cody is live in St. Joe at Chiefs Training Camp, brought to you by our friends at Max Motors. Worth the drive from anywhere. MaxMotors.com. We, of course, picked up a beautiful Ford F-150 from our friends down at Max Ford in Harrisonville. I need you to send me a photo or something. Put it on Twitter or something after practice today. I didn't get to be up there and ride in the truck today or whatever. So
you didn't. I'll make sure. I sent a little video out from the truck today talking about Rashee Rice. So I'm working towards it.
Okay,
you can see the interior of the truck if you want to go see that at 610 Sports KC.
All right, coming up next, though, we'll talk more Royals baseball. Nicky Lopez, now a member of the Atlanta Braves. A reaction very interesting to me, not to mention what Vern had to say this morning on Fesco in the Morning. You'll hear that next.
Cody and Gold, live from the Chiefs practice field this summer.
You're clear, Cody.
Brought to you by Gann Asphalt and Concrete. For asphalt, concrete, and parking lot maintenance, Gann Asphalt and Concrete. One contractor, all things parking lot. Trusted in Kansas City since 1994. Online at GANNasphalt.com.
Hey, it's Alex Gold from my friends at Midwest Marine Boat Company and Yamaha Motor. The summer weather isn't the only thing that's hot, we know that. Well, Midwest Marine Boat Company has sizzling prices on all 2023 models with the lowest prices of the year. It's not too late to enjoy your summer on the water and let Midwest Marine Boat Company show you how Yamaha Motor revs your heart. Come see Midwest Marine Boat Company's new massive showroom at 13800 South Highway 71 in Grandview now. Midwest Marine Boat Company. We take pride in your fun.
What does it mean to be the official information technology provider for the Chiefs? Everything. Technology Group Solutions makes sure everything runs flawlessly for the millions of fans that attend games and the hundreds of millions of fans that comprise Chiefs Kingdom around the world. Technology Group Solutions can deploy that same dedication, problem solving, and incredible service to ensure your business runs smoothly all day, every day, just like your Chiefs. Technology Group Solutions, powering Chiefs Kingdom and ready to do the same for you.
I had some bad memories come back up the other day when I saw Cody have his glasses just completely snap in half right before our show. He was scrambling a little bit, had to grab some tape to make sure he could put his glasses together, and then he had to order some new glasses. Those are the kind of things that you worry about if you have glasses, or if you're wearing contacts, maybe you're worried about forgetting the contact solution. I don't worry about that anymore, thanks to DuraVision, thanks to SBK Advanced LASIK and the best staff and the best decision I ever made over at DuraVision, finding out that I don't need contacts or glasses, that I was eligible for LASIK, and now I just see with my own two eyes. I don't need any assistance, no contacts, no glasses, no headaches, and last-minute issues on trips with broken glasses. Fortunately, none of that matters anymore for me. But you want to make sure right now you call DuraVision or go to DuraVision.com to take advantage of their end-of-summer LASIK savings event. Another summer passing by with glasses or contacts holding you back? Take advantage of DuraVision's exclusive end-of-summer LASIK savings. Save up to $1,000 on your procedure. Go to DuraVision.com or give them a call at 913-491-3330.
You're always better with a roof from JR.
Well, that was fun. And who says we don't get hurricanes in KC? That storm that blew through last week had Category 1 hurricane winds. And now, here come all the hail-chasing roofers. But there was no hail. And inspecting a roof for wind damage is a lot different than inspecting for hail damage. Unlike hail's dings and dents, wind damage likes to hide until the next storm when your roof leaks. That is exactly why you need to call JR & Company. With years of hurricane experience in Florida, locally owned JR & Company knows how to find the wind damage that others might miss. And they know how to deal with insurance adjusters on wind claims. As always, our inspection and your peace of mind are free at jrroofcheck.com.
You're always better with a roof from JR.
Visit jrroofcheck.com.
Tailgates and turkey, yes please. This season, score a touchdown with U.S. soy-fed turkey. Versatile, tasty, and truly different, turkey is always a winner. You can get all the recipes and register for a chance to win the ultimate prize pack at tailgatewithturkey.com. You'll be the pride of the parking lot.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same, but is 95% cheaper? And you can get it online? Just go to 4hims.com/radio. Through Hims, you'll get a free medical consultation, discreet shipping if prescribed, a 100% online process, and trusted generic alternatives to the name brands to treat ED at up to 95% off. That's right, the same active ingredient as the brand name for 95%.
Grainger.com or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
When I can't sleep, my mind just races. I think about work, the kids, but I don't think about taking melatonin because I'm afraid I'll feel groggy in the morning.
ZzzQuil Pure Z's Gummies has an optimal dose of melatonin for no next-day grogginess, so you can fall asleep naturally and wake up feeling refreshed. ZzzQuil Pure Z's Gummies for better sleep like never before. And try Pure Z Sleep Plus Next Day Energy with melatonin plus extended-release B vitamins.
If this were a Reese's TV ad, you'd be staring at a Reese's peanut butter cup. And sure, my voice is peanut buttery smooth, but still, you need to see the peanut butter cups, right? No? I can really just say Reese's and you'll go get some? Okay, Reese's. 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 Really working, actually. Reese's. Reese's. I'm on to something. Reese's. Reese's. Reese's.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same, but is 95% cheaper? Just go to 4hims.com/joy. Through Hims, you'll get a free medical consultation, discreet shipping if prescribed, and the process is 100% online. To start your free online visit, go to 4hims.com/joy. That's FORHIMS.com/JOY.
The 610 Sports Radio phone line is brought to you by Onder Law Injury Lawyers. Visit getjim.com.
Chiefs coverage on 610 Sports Radio is brought to you by Park & Go. Book parkandgo.com.
Getting ready to go on vacation can be stressful. Lucky for us, there's Park & Go. Easy online reservation, free instant shuttles, luggage assistance, and all spots are covered. Reserve your spot today at bookparkandgo.com. The best deals in airport parking. Park & Go, family owned and operated.
I feel glorious, glorious, got a chance to start again.
Back here on Cody and Gold, we continue to broadcast live from the Ag Power broadcast tent. Score big this year with your hometown John Deere dealer. Ag Power. Visit agpower.com for more. We'll get to the random question of the day here in about 10 minutes or so. Cody's up in St. Joe, staying under the tent. No weather, no issues so far. Much different story earlier this morning. That's why we're in two different locations. I am back in Kansas City. No, I did not get stranded in Chicago or anything like that. I just
Not like that time you got stranded in Vegas. You just didn't do the show the next day. I assume if you were in Chicago, you would just have to be in Chicago. You didn't bring equipment with you.
No, and we've got sister stations in Chicago, but on a situation like that, you just don't do the show. You just take the day off and deal with that.
Take the loss.
But that's not the issue. We'll be back together in studio tomorrow, then both back up in St. Joe on Wednesday. The Chiefs do not have practice tomorrow. We'll talk some more Chiefs football in the 1 o'clock hour today as well. But the Royals yesterday make a move. They trade Nicky Lopez to the Atlanta Braves. The trade deadline's not till tomorrow afternoon, and we'll see if the Royals will make another move before then. I still think they should. We can get to that momentarily. But Nicky Lopez traded to the Braves, and I think the reaction that we saw, Cody, is not only continued frustration, obviously, from what this season has been, but acknowledging where the organization is at, the timeline, and people trying to look at, all right, does the organization know they're this far away, or do they think that they are closer than they actually are? Because they acquire a left-handed pitcher in Taylor Hearn, who's 28 years old, and was a guy that was DFA'd by the Rangers just a little over a week ago that you could have got off of waivers, and instead you trade Nicky Lopez for him. If you look at it just from that perspective, I think it's more than valid to be completely upset.
To be pissed.
And saying, what the hell are you doing? But I think this move is more about a guy that they weren't planning on keeping around, and they can save some money while doing it. As much as that sucks to hear, I think that's, to me, what the move actually was. Not that they thought Taylor Hearn was actually going to be some guy that's going to help them long term.
From the jump, I can speak pretty confidently. From the jump, I don't think this organization was ever 100% bought in on Nicky Lopez, okay? From the beginning, I don't think they ever thought he was going to hit at the major league level, and that was going to be a problem. So there were probably just some inherent lack of chances for this. But this deal sucks ass. We don't have to say anything outside of that, at least in the initial going, because we do have to excuse make, or at the very least, look for the reasoning behind Gold, right? We have to, play this story out in our head and do a little choose-your-own adventure if it's going to be something on the outside of that. Because on paper, the deal is garbage. And I'm not just saying that as somebody who thinks Nicky Lopez should have demanded some team's top 10 prospect who was 20-year-old in AA ready to make the big leagues in the next 2 seasons, because I don't think that either. Nicky is a light-hitting utility infielder who wasn't getting a lot of playing time on one of the league's worst teams.
Yeah, played in 67 games this year.
Yeah, so he's playing about half of the games for one of the league's worst teams. So if they aren't finding regular playing time for that player, am I really supposed to make an argument that Nicky Lopez is this amazing talent that everyone should be fawning over. No. The problem I have is that this feels like, for the first time to me, in the J.J. Piccolo era, this is the first move, and there were times in the the Dayton Moore era too, so this will happen under any GM. But this is the first time in the J.J. Piccolo era that I'm like, I don't understand this move at all. What the hell is the point of it? You could have had the guy for cash a week ago, and you didn't trade for him, and instead you just give away Nicky for this 28-year-old relief pitcher who doesn't seem like they have any upside other than they're tall and throw kind of hard. So unless their scouts are just convinced they can just turn this kid's career around like that, it defies logic other than saving money now to spend money later.
The part just where Taylor Hearn was available a week ago.
Yeah, it's annoying.
Then to hear that it's someone you really like, that part's a really difficult sell for me. When you like, then why didn't you just go ahead and claim him? So that part is understandably very.
And we can ask JJ. He's going to join the show on Wednesday.
Yeah, after the trade deadline, which is tomorrow afternoon. But I think my guess is ultimately this move wasn't so much about Taylor Hearn, Cody. It was about
shedding themselves
a guy that was not going to factor into our everyday lineup anytime soon or ever. That even Samad Taylor was getting more playing time recently than him. And the salary of $5 million shouldn't be a big deal, but it was only going to go up with 2 more years of him being arbitration eligible. And so my guess is that's what the trade was more about. Hey, everybody has every right to be frustrated with it, but I think that's ultimately what it was more about than them actually thinking that Taylor Hearn was somebody that was just, oh man, we had it. The Braves the Braves were willing to eat the money. And for the Braves, you get a really good defender that can help you. And best of luck to Nicky through a postseason run with the Atlanta Braves, obviously. And Nicky did put something out on his social media thanking Royals fans here in the last, half hour or so. But they got to make another move, man. I see also the Braves reportedly are looking for back-end bullpen help. Hello.
I got to be honest, though. I'm not so keen on them trading with the Braves all of a sudden based on the return they just got for Nicky.
Well, I don't think that to me is depending on how you. To me, the trade with Nicky Lopez and Taylor Hearn wasn't about Taylor Hearn as much as it was about shedding some money.
God, I hope you're right. Honestly, that it still gives me concern because it means you're just salary dumping to salary dump. And again, Nicky has problems as a player, but does have value to teams. You know how I know that? The best record in baseball team thinks Nicky has a place on their roster. So to me, it's like you had more control with Nicky. He was younger. He was like the only thing he was cheaper.
Well, was there another part of this?
Was cheaper.
Is there something else going on? Because I was stunned to hear this from Vern this morning. I'll play it for you. Vern was on with Fesco in the morning, was on with Bob and Josh, and was talking about Nicky's role on this team.
To me, Nicky right now, not even right now, he hasn't been all in on his role for quite a while. Not that it was a major issue, not that it was dragging the team down. They're already 43 games below 500, but if the Royals are going to get to where they need to be, you got to be all in for it. You got to understand what's going on this year, next year, and then into 2025. And I understand why Nicky wouldn't be all in on his role. He wants to play every single day. He had success in the World Baseball Classic playing every day, and he thought that was going to translate into the regular season. So I hope he finds a place to play every single day. Let's find out if a team actually gives him a chance.
We'll talk to JJ, as you said on Wednesday, alluding to the fact that maybe that was a bigger thing than we knew.
Well, and like it's crazy kind of to hear it because for the longest time the pitch on Nicky was incredible clubhouse guy.
Yeah.
He's one of the easiest people to work from the media perspective. His teammates always spoke highly of him. But also that was when I was covering the team, and Nicky Lopez was an everyday player, Gold. I mean, it's the type of rhetoric I was hearing was before he had gotten shuffled off to a lesser role and then had to find peace with that lesser role. And honestly, would you blame him? Like right now, we've seen tons of Royals players struggle and not get there. But the problem is for Nicky here, which is just generally how I feel about this anyways, like if you stink out loud, I would rather see someone younger than you that I haven't seen be bad, you know? I'd rather just see Nick Lofton or
I think that's what's happened,
Garcia or Drew Watt. It doesn't really matter who the player is. I'd rather see them because I haven't seen them fail, and I know what Nicky's shortcomings are. I know what he can provide for a major league team, and I know where those what he can't provide for a major league team. So you start getting interested in checking out those other players. But it just felt like they just – like it almost felt like they borderline just felt like they just DFA'd him, which would have been, that's why I still hate the deal. It's like if they just DFA'd Nicky yesterday, I'd been like, what the hell are you doing? Why just DFAing the guy? And that's what it felt like when they got him.
That's why I think it was a salary thing, man. Like, he's not going to play for us
doesn't
anyway.
make me feel better.
Like, not gonna play for us anyway because of what you said, which is we're going to have all these young guys continuing to get playing time over him, and we might as well get someone to take some money off the books. That's just me speculating, but that's how I read the trade. I'm not viewing it as, oh, man, Nicky Lopez for Taylor Hearn. I'm viewing it as, all right, Nicky Lopez wasn't going to play.
Nicky Lopez for salary? God, that doesn't help the very.
I know.
I thought the two early conversations of Sherman is cheap stuff. Like, I thought it was unfair. But if he starts making moves just to dump $5 million, I might feel differently.
Yeah, that's why this offseason is so important. Not because I think they're going to make moves that they're going to be competitive in 24. I wish I could say that. But I think
spend a little.
Spend some money.
There's just, I can't figure out the logic in it, which I hope to get, because, like, I read Annie's article over at MLB.com. I listened to Vern. And it's still, other than just, like, unless he was, like, a toxic, locker or, clubhouse cancer. Like,
I don't think that was the case.
No, and I don't think that's the case either. I have a really hard time justifying the return, even if I didn't think the return should be good. Because at that point, for me, Gold, if all you're getting back is Taylor Hearn, a player who, if you are in contention, you are a good team, you can find a million Taylor Hearns available. He was available a week ago, right?
Yeah,
that is not a hard player to find.
So bizarre.
So
man.
For me, I would rather just go. I'd rather have like a 14-year-old they had signed from the Dominican Republic. I'd rather have almost any young prospect with like one good pitch, right? Like you would almost take anyone at that point if it's Taylor Hearn.
I know there's always going to be people that are frustrated with any move, but honestly, do you really think if it was just, hey, they traded Nicky Lopez to the Braves, all right, of course there's the financial end of it, but they're getting a low A-ball pitcher that's
Everyone
19.
would be fine.
And you sure nobody would bitch and moan?
Not nobody, because there's always things to complain about. Because some of this, I think some of the like really big reaction is the bad team reaction, where they stink and they can't do anything well.
And everybody should be pissed off. And I'm not saying people shouldn't be pissed off, but I think ultimately that's what it is. Honestly, you want to know what will frustrate me more in the next 24 hours or so is I still think they need to trade Scott Barlow, and it's amazing to me if that doesn't happen.
The most interesting part of the unknown for me was Vern talking about the fact that Nicky didn't accept the role. They still need to trade Barlow and maybe some other players. And we assume that that's going to happen sometime before tomorrow at what 3 o'clock? When's the trade deadline? What time is it? At night?
3:30 or 4:30, something like that.
Okay, so whenever that comes to fruition, maybe I'll feel a lot better. Because I'll tell you right now, if they go nail the next trade, I like the return. I think it's fair. It's valid. It makes sense for the next trade. Well, then this one will feel more like what it is, where it's a one-off. Because for the most part, I haven't minded the return they've gotten for a lot of players. It has not been perfect, and this is the first time that JJ's been fully in charge. But if you go back and look at last year, like Champlain, right, a player that we're not like, wow, what a haul, because they didn't have some like blue chip player to trade away last year. He's pitching really well in AA, right? Maybe there's some return there, but I got the upside. Even though he was a little bit older, I got the upside. I think my biggest hang-up still is my biggest hang-up is still I can't, like, really good teams. Do they make this move? That's what I ask myself. Really good organizations, rebuilding organizations who eventually became good. Do I ever remember them making a trade for a 28-year-old reliever with very little control? And the answer is no.
And that's why, again, I think it was a salary move. I mean, that's the only thing that even makes remote sense to me with the trade whatsoever. I thought you said Champagne for a second. You did not.
No. Jordan Lyles did get win number 2 last night.
Jordan Lyles did get win number 2. Of course, you owe a bottle of Dom if he gets to 6.
Gonna need to win every start.
He's got to win out just about. He's got to win out just about. But at least he stayed. Technically, it's still alive, even though I've told you I've kind of given up hope on it. But it's technically still alive. He got win number 2. He did.
So when will you start believing again? If he wins the next one? If he wins 2 starts in a row and gets to 3?
He's got to get to 4. Okay, he's got to get me within. He's got to get me within 2 wins
in the next
by the
3
middle
starts.
of August. Yeah. That's where we got to be. All right, let's get to the random question of the day.
Random question.
For you, Gold. For you, JT. And over on the text line, 913-586-7610. You can also answer on our social media pages. We obviously stream on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, wherever you want to find it. We'll find your answers. 913-586-7610. Today, in honor of the passing of Paul Rubens, who is best known for playing Pee Wee Herman, I want to know your favorite children's TV theme song of all time. Because first, and normally we would have audio for this, but obviously we didn't know about Paul Rubens till earlier in the show, I would say that one is very underrated. Pee-wee's Playhouse, which was the TV show before the movies Gold, for people who maybe weren't familiar with it. I think most of our audience probably remembers both the TV show and the movie. But I want to know your favorite children's TV theme song. I'll tell you one that's underrated, by the way, before you give an answer. The animated show from the 80s, Gummy Bears.
Never seen it.
Had an unbelievable, like 80s cartoons went way harder than they needed to in the theme songs. There's like key changes and multiple instruments and complex lyrics. You're like, who spent the better part of like 2 days writing this Gummy Bears theme song? Like, Doug always stands out to me because it's one that I still think of in my head pretty frequently, but there's a lot of good choices.
Yeah, Doug is strong. So the two come to mind immediately. And again, I didn't know this was going to be the question today. Otherwise, I would have had some audio ready for you. But
again, I had a random question, but I liked this one better because of Pee Wee Herman.
You didn't you didn't think that you were going to have someone pass away today? You weren't planning for that? Is that what happened?
No, I didn't plan on it, but then I thought it should be the random question. That's all.
SpongeBob SquarePants is the first one that comes to mind for me, and also the Arthur theme song. Those are the two that come to mind right away for me. We're thinking kids' TV show theme songs.
Okay, does Scooby-Doo classify as a kids' TV show?
Scooby-Doo? Yeah.
Scooby-Doo.
Yeah.
I love Scooby-Doo. I think Scooby-Doo, if you ask my girlfriend, she thinks it's weird. I'm obsessed with Scooby-Doo. I love Scooby-Doo.
Like still?
No, not
like
still.
As an adult? Okay.
No.
I mean, it's fine if you want to watch Scooby-Doo, man. It's cool.
No, I mean, I'll watch it if it's on the channel, but I'm not going to go through Netflix and just watch
You're not
it.
looking for old episodes of Scooby-Doo.
Right.
It'll
But
be the first one you put on when we have a kid, and you're like, hey, here's a cartoon you can watch. You're like, I mean, I totally don't enjoy it as much as you.
Right. That is exactly it. I love Scooby-Doo. I thought the theme song was cool. What's New Scooby-Doo? I mean, I think that was my childhood, was that cartoon right there.
Okay, so Scooby-Doo. I mean, that's one, again, I think if any of them are one that, like, forever are in your head, that's got to make the list in some case. Someone's mentioned the Fairly Odd Parents. Was that more your generation?
Yeah.
I feel like I was a little too old for that one. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles from the 90s is also great. That is a great answer.
I know my dad would say the Jetsons. He loved the Jetsons.
Okay, yeah.
Meet the Jetsons.
Yeah, that's. Yeah,
I mean,
I
don't even remember watching that cartoon that much, and I guess I at least know the beginning.
I watched
part,
more
right?
Jetsons than whatever show you mentioned. Guppy, what?
I've never heard of whatever you said, Guppy.
Guppy, what?
What are you talking to me?
Yeah, you.
I said Gummy Bears.
That one, yeah.
Not Bubble Guppies. That's a little kid show. That one we get stuck
Either
in
way,
too.
never
That's
heard of
kids,
either.
My
Never
kids
heard of
watch
either.
that.
I've
That's
heard
not
the
a show
Gummy
I
Bears
watch.
song, but not a Gummy Bears show.
There was a show. There was like an animated cartoon. I'm telling you, JT, I need a favor. When we go to break here in a few minutes, I need you to go look up that theme song so we can hear it in the next break.
The Gummy Bear one?
Yeah.
Okay.
Look up Gummy Bear. It's like, late 80s, early 90s.
Also, another one I've heard, Mickey Mouse. Mickey Mouse Clubhouse has got to be up there. Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, a lot of the ones that register for me as a kid is Chippendale Rescue Rangers.
Rugrats. I forgot about Rugrats. That's the
But
answer.
there's no words in that. It's just
but it's still iconic.
I know, but I mean, it's just.
That's
I feel like
iconic.
I want some words. I want some lyrics. Like I just want to. I want a little bit of.
I'm sorry. Am I a bad person today? The whole Pee Wee Herman thing. I honestly, my first reaction with him passing away. Obviously, I'm sad to see someone pass away, but he's a creep. I'm sorry. I'm not what is this?
Wow.
He's an absolute creep. I'm not like
Just an absolute creep?
Yes. That's the first reaction I have to him.
Wow, man.
So I'm like, I'm not
On the
like
day that
today.
they
I'm
died?
like, he's a creep. I'm sorry. I'm not going to give this huge tribute to the guy. It's a creeper. Look him up. Creep.
I mean, are there more instances than just the one, or no?
Freaking creep. A little bit of a predator. Yeah.
Okay. Wow. Sorry, I didn't realize I was going to hit such a sore spot. By the way,
It's kind of weird, man.
coming up in 9 minutes, our Royals insider Josh Verner is going to join us. He thinks we're insane on this trade.
On the Nicky Lopez. Okay.
Yeah.
I thought Okay, I'm curious where he's at because you and I aren't fully on. We're kind of on the same page, but I also understand if it was a salary cap move, or not a salary cap move, but a salary dump.
I mean,
I'm curious to hear.
I'm just not I'll. You know what? I'm happy to hear the other side. How about that? Because I don't like it. I want to. I want to defend or whatever. And by the way, just real quick, before we get Vern on,
Okay.
I will defend him for a moment. For any of the people.
Defend who?
Vern. Because the people on social media or the text line who immediately are like, Vern's paid by the organization to be favorable. That is just objectively not how this works. And in the entire time I've known Vern, he might have been harder on the Royals this year than us. So I don't know, like, the whole broadcast partner Vern's protecting their guy situation, or you and I, who have defended J.J. Piccolo and a chance to give him more than enough opportunities, which is how I still feel, by the way. I can dislike one trade and not feel that way. Vern is not a company shill for the Royals, ready to protect him at all cost. I don't know if you heard him 3 days ago on his pregame show when he buried this team for how they're performing this year. But I'll be interested to find out why he feels differently about the trade than me, because obviously I've made it very clear I don't like it.
That's the random question of the day, by the way. Thank you for that, Cody. 913-586-7610, the Jay's Southland Tow Service text line. We'll get back to some Chiefs football in the 1 o'clock hour as well. Our training camp coverage brought to you by St. Joseph Convention and Visitors Bureau. Be a part of history by attending Chiefs training camp. Learn more at stjomo.com. Earlier, we had a chance to catch up with Trent McDuffie. You'll hear our conversation with the second-year corner for the Chiefs around 1:30 or so. We asked him about that wide receiver group, and he gave us one wide receiver in particular that really kind of stood out to him. I think you'll want to hear that around 1:30 or so today as well. Cody, I was in Chicago this past weekend, man, and some people were agreeing with you when I tweeted out a photo of it, but I had myself some Chicago deep dish pizza. I got myself some.
Red sauce ratio is all messed up.
It was so good, man. The Giordano's was incredible. It's everything I was hoping for. Again, it's a must when I go to Chicago. I also got a Chicago dog, although last time we went to a much better place. We went to Super Dog. There's some place called the Winking Dog, I think it was. We went to.
So
not
like
good.
a ripoff?
Not good.
Not good?
Not
It's
good.
just a hot dog. How was it
wasn't
bad?
Good. The fries were soggy because they packaged the hot dog and then they put the fries on top of the dog, which is no problem there.
Sure.
But the fries weren't very good. That was the only disappointing part. We should have gone to like Wiener Circle or something like that.
I'm not familiar. I mean, I've had a Chicago dog before in Chicago, but I feel like it's a hard thing to mess up. I thought you said you didn't want to go see the White Sox Stadium.
Yeah, it wasn't the plan initially, but I checked another ballpark off the list. I was excited to do that. We went to Guaranteed Rate Field, saw the White Sox and Guardians. It's because the rain cleared out. It ended up being a beautiful night. It was like 74 degrees, man. It was beautiful. But I have to tell you something about that because we were driving. We had a rental car, so we were driving down to the south side of Chicago, and my buddy's driving, and there's a giant electronic sign that says credit, debit, cash, lot ED or whatever, right? So all right, we got to park. Let's do that. And we take a right, and there's a guy in a yellow vest, right?
Okay.
And the guy says, "All right, $40." All right, here's the cash. He gives him $40. My buddy does. He's like, "All right, take a right, stop sign, next stop sign or whatever." And he yells, "Ticket!" So we're like, okay, fine. But we never got a receipt or anything. Sure enough, we get up there. There's nowhere to park. We go up further. There's the actual lot. The guy, when we get to that lot, says, "Yeah, it's going to be 30." Yes.
That's not surprising. It's a hot dog place.
Uh-huh. Yep. Ed Sheeran was at it this weekend too. He was serving up hot dogs there at the place. That happened.
Well, you could have gotten a hot dog from Ed Sheeran.
Well, we went to the wrong place, but Ed Sheeran's got a concert there, I guess, or something. Anyway.
He'll be in KC here soon.
That's true. Coming up next, Vern's going to call in. He's going to tell us why Cody and I are both wrong about the Nicky Lopez trade.
There's Kelsey to the end zone.
Cody and Gold.
You're clear, Cody.
Concrete for asphalt, concrete, and parking lot maintenance. GAN Asphalt and Concrete. One contractor, all things parking lot. Trusted in Kansas City since 1994. Online at GANNasphalt.com. Don't miss the Chiefs Red Half Hour every day at 11:30 on your official broadcast partner of the Chiefs, 610 Sports Radio.
The U.S. women's soccer team is taking on the world, and you can take home bonus bets every time they win with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook app. Right now, new customers get $100 in bonus bets guaranteed, plus another $10 in bonus bets for every time that Team USA wins. All you need to do is go to FanDuel.com/CDOT, sign up between now and August 3rd, and place your first $5 bet to unlock your bonus bets. However you want to play, don't miss your chance to get $10 in bonus bets for every time that Team USA wins. Plus, you get $100 in bonus bets guaranteed. All you need to do is go on FanDuel and use my promo code CDOT to sign up today. Make every moment more with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook app and the official partner of 610 Sports Radio. 21 and present in Kansas. First online real money wager only. $10 applies are required. Refund issued with non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire in 7 days. Restrictions apply. See full terms at FanDuel.com/sportsbook. FanDuel is offering online sports wagering in Kansas under agreement with Kansas Star Casino, LLC. Gambling problem. Getting help is your best bet. Call 1-800-522-4700 or visit ksgamblinghelp.com.
We're hiring residential garage door installers at Overhead Door Company of Kansas City. Join the team trusted here since 1927. Apply today, get a call today. No experience necessary. Paid training for motivated applicants to install garage doors. Hiring bonus up to $2,500. Mechanical, carpentry, or service industry experience is a plus. Good benefits include health, dental, vision, and pension. Earn as you learn to service the best garage door customers in KC. Apply today at overheaddoorkc.com.
Tailgates in Turkey? Yes, please. This season, score a touchdown with U.S. soy-fed turkey. Versatile, tasty, and truly different, turkey can be used for succulent sliders, killer kebabs, championship chili, or even brilliant burnt ends. You can get all the recipes and register for a chance to win the ultimate prize pack worth nearly $2,000, including a portable Traeger grill, Yeti cooler, Chiefs gear, and much more at tailgatewithturkey.com. You'll be the pride of the parking lot. Come on, KC, turn up your tailgate at tailgatewithturkey.com.
If you're hiring, it can feel like you're trying to find a needle in a haystack. You can hope the right person comes along, or you can just use ZipRecruiter. And now you can try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. In fact, ZipRecruiter has helped a lot of business owners find their needle in a haystack, like Marco, president of operations at Telly Tires and Auto Centers. Because Telly Tires has grown a lot in the last few years, Marco needed to hire everyone from a receptionist to a store manager to a head mechanic.
ZipRecruiter helps me find all the right people, even the most difficult jobs to fill. ZipRecruiter helps me keep my business running.
Take it from Marco and millions of other businesses who've used ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter can help you find the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. That's ZipRecruiter.com/RADIO. ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire.
Diabetes, high blood pressure, anxiety meds, everyone's on them. If you're a 50-year-old male, maybe a bit porky, and you may even have type 2 diabetes, $1 million of term insurance may only cost you about $200 a month. Call Term Provider. Speak with Big Lou at 800-700-6898. Big Lou will find a term life policy for you even if you have type 2 diabetes, are overweight, or have high blood pressure. Term Provider has helped thousands of people like you who think they can't afford term life insurance. To buy $1 million of affordable term life for you, all you need to do is call Big Lou at 800-700-6898. Lou will make sure the scales are tipped in your favor. Call 800-700-6898. Big Lou will answer your call and work to fit you into a term life policy that you can afford. Remember, Big Lou's like you. He's on meds too. Call 800-700-6898. 800-700-6898 or biglou.com.
O'Reilly.
Did you know 1 in 4 car batteries is weak and needs to be replaced? O'Reilly Auto Parts will test your battery for free. If your battery needs to be replaced, our professional parts people can help you find the right Super Start battery for your vehicle and budget. Don't wait. Get your battery tested for free today at your local O'Reilly Auto Parts.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
DQ presents How to Fancy Up Any Occasion. Step 1, grab the Caramel Fudge Cheesecake Blizzard from DQ. Step 2, break out your fanciest sweatpants and park yourself in your comfiest chair. Step 3, kick back and bask in the luxury of salted caramel, rich fudge, and decadent cheesecake pieces blended in world-famous DQ soft serve. Fancy? Achieved. No formal wear required. DQ. Happy tastes good.
Twin Peaks is the best in the game. Here, it's bigger game days and bolder fight nights. I mean, where else can you find a scratch kitchen that always comes in clutch? Every day, from lunch to late night. Only at Twin Peaks, the #1 sports bar.
The Summer Bikini Bash costume party is officially here. Cool off with your favorite Twin Peaks girls all week long and celebrate with specials on our favorite cheap shots, Peak signature taps, mules, and more. Twin Peaks. Eats, drinks, scenic views.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today? Thinking about gas mileage. You know, changing your oil with a full synthetic oil like Pennzoil Platinum can help your engine get more miles. Right now, you can get 5 quarts with an STP Extended Life Oil Filter for only $35.99. Get started on your next job today with the parts you need when you need them at AutoZone or AutoZone.com.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
Missing your NFL team's out-of-market games? Not a great plan. A much better plan? Switch to My Plan from Verizon and get NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV on us with eligible phone purchase and unlimited plus. That's a value of up to $449. Get every out-of-market game every Sunday afternoon. Switch to My Plan at your Verizon store today. And for a limited time, get NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV on us with eligible phone purchase and unlimited plus. It's your Verizon. $449 value applies to NFL Sunday Ticket season 23-24 only. Additional terms and embargoes apply to NFL Sunday Ticket on YouTube. No refunds.
You're listening to 610 Sports Radio from the Max Motors Studios. Drop off new or used sports equipment at the Urban Youth Academy as part of the Let's Play Sports Equipment Drive presented by Pinnacle Bank. Thank you for all your support. 610 Sports Radio, KCSP Kansas City, WDAF HD2 Liberty, always live on the free Odyssey app.
All right, 1 o'clock hour, Cody and Gold with you. Cody up in St. Joe. Practice wrapped up a little bit earlier today. You'll hear our conversation we had with Trent McDuffie coming up around 1:30. In particular, a wide receiver that he mentioned that really caught his attention so far through the first couple days of padded practice up in St. Joe. Cody's in the Ag Power broadcast tent. Score big this year with your home team John Deere dealer, Ag Power. Visit agpower.com for more. Before we get back into the Chiefs, wanted to talk some more Royals baseball. Our guy Josh Vernier wanted to call in the show. Our Royals insider, he heard us talking about Nicky Lopez being traded to the Atlanta Braves for Taylor Hearn. Hopefully not the last move the Royals make before tomorrow's 5 o'clock deadline. But Vern, you disagreed with what we were saying there when it comes to maybe the logic behind this Nicky Lopez trade.
Well, I just hear a lot of talking in circles. We ask for them to be transactional, and then when they make a move, there's just endless disagreement. The two things that stuck out to me, number one, I've heard many people, Cody, yourself included, say, man, if you would have gotten a 14-year-old that didn't work out, I'd be happy. Why would the Braves or any team in Major League Baseball part with a 14-year-old, a 16-year-old, an 18-year-old, a 21-year-old for the services of Nicky Lopez? I'm yet to hear someone explain that to me. And then the point that you make about show me a good team that makes this move. See, that's the problem. The Royals are not a good team. They have so many players that have only known losing for the last 5, 6, 7 years. They need a complete overhaul, right? This is an evaluation season, and so far, 107 games into the season, the evaluation is you got about 3 or 4 good players. So if that's the case, you're not a good team, and you need to overhaul this entire thing top to bottom and build from the minor leagues up. That started last year, in my opinion, at the trade deadline, and needs to continue into this offseason and really needs to happen in a big way this offseason. Some big names need to be moved this offseason. But as far as Nicky Lopez is concerned, I'm just so very confused at how he's viewed by Royals fans and at times the both of you.
Look, I don't think he's an overly valuable player. He can't hit, and I'm not going to try to pretend like he can. He is still somehow on a bad team, 5th or 6th in WAR on the team.
Okay,
so,
yeah, but they're one of the worst teams in American League Baseball history. We're talking about him being 5th on Baseball Reference WAR, keeping in mind that Brad Keller's top 10 in Baseball Reference WAR for the 2023 Kansas City Royals. Dairon Blanco is top 10 in Baseball Reference WAR. Don't use that as a statistic because all it does is show just how freaking crappy this team is.
I guess what bugs me probably the most, Vern, and that's more than fair. What you're saying is more than fair, and I certainly wouldn't argue that. And saying, hey, find me a team that would have given you a 20-year-old, and I probably would have had a different conversation with it is, like, what is the actual upside in Hearn? Like, it just seems so weird to trade out one player who's never succeeded at the big league level consistently for another player who's never succeeded, but they have less,
It's a beating heart. It's a beating heart. Instead of nothing, you got a beating heart for Nicky Lopez. You were going to, in my opinion, non-tender him in about 2 months and get nothing for him. You're not getting a 16 and 18-year-old because teams say, we know you're about to get rid of a $5 million utility infielder who's going to play. Charlie Culberson's the guy that he's taken his spot. The Braves are paying their Christian Colon $5 million to come in as a defensive replacement. I just don't think you could have gotten more than Hearn. Now, I'm not saying Hearn is going to succeed, but I'd like to see him fail before I call him a failure.
Yeah, so to me, I'm viewing it as not they traded for Tyler Hearn. Like that to me, it was a little bit of what you're saying, which is that it's someone that's not playing for this organization right now all that much, and Nicky Lopez. And how much of this was just a salary dump? Because that's how I view it. That's how I'm viewing the trade. Not that I actually think they got something back.
I understand it, and yes, that's a good place to start. But as a Royals fan, I hear salary dump,
I know.
and that makes you angry, and it should make you angry. You better not dump salary with Salvi. Don't take a salary dump when it comes to Barlow with Lyles. Get what they're worth in return. I understand that, but the only way I'm going to pay a guy like Nicky Lopez $4 million, $5 million next season, which again, it's John Sherman's money. Put a better product on the field. Nicky Lopez, being one of those 26 players, makes you a better team. I'm not going to argue that. I like him as the utility guy for this team in 2024, unless he's sick and tired of the utility role. The previous coaching staff did not vibe with Nicky Lopez. He didn't like the way that he was being utilized under the previous coaching staff, and his playing time has diminished even more under this new coaching staff. The Royals gave him an opportunity in 2019 and 2021 and in 2022, and for some reason he's always thought he deserved more at the big league level. So I hope he finds it elsewhere. Yes, you can view it as a salary dump, but you also need to acknowledge the only way keeping that salary around works is if he is either producing or a positive impact on that clubhouse, as it is all in on what this team is trying to do. And for reasons you guys discussed earlier, he's not all in because, again, he thinks he's an everyday player at the big league level, despite what his statistics in his career say.
It seems concerning to me because, like, Nicky came into the league, he was like the top rail guy. Everyone was so happy with how much he just loved baseball and wanted to be around it and was in the clubhouse. Everybody loved the guy. I'm surprised to find out the Royals would have taken the heart out of that. That's worrisome.
Cody, I mean, could you have ever imagined Whit Merrifield into a microphone telling people I'd get the shot if we were a good team?
Mm-hmm.
No, I never would expect Whit Merrifield. But that's what losing every single day, year after year, does to a guy.
I think the only last part that I see a lot of people having issue with, Vern, is just that the pitcher the Royals got back, if they really liked him so much, what would you respond when he was available a week ago?
Yeah, okay, but then you're losing Nicky Lopez for nothing.
I'm losing for the same thing. Hearn's here and Nicky's gone. I don't know that I'm hurt either way. And at least I give myself a chance to get another Hearn, I guess, from a different team, right?
Yeah. Look, to me, Thomas O'Hearn or whatever his name is.
Yeah.
I mean, even talking with JJ, I'm pretty sure he called him O'Hearn when I spoke with him yesterday. No, I understand that, but it's either lose Nicky Lopez for nothing or you get a beating heart for him. Let's hope this Hearn can do something, but just this. This thought that seems to be permeating that Nicky Lopez had more value than they still beating hearts out on the open market is what has me floored.
So then am I overvaluing Scott Barlow too, though? Because I'm like, man, I'm seeing the Braves want back in bullpen help. The deadline's tomorrow, at 5 o'clock or so. To me, he needs to be moved.
I agree he needs to be moved, but I don't think you're going to get anything close to what you got for Aroldis Chapman for Scott Barlow. Barlow, if you go back and look at what he's done over the past 2 months, seems to really be not afraid to throw his fastball, but he sure is throwing it a lot less. Opponents are sitting on the breaking ball and obviously doing the damage that we're seeing. This is a guy that's going to be making $8 million next year to be some team's seventh inning guy. The Royals don't have much leverage right now when it comes to Barlow. Again, I'll reiterate, their best trade asset, in my opinion, is Ryan Yarbrough right now, with Carlos Hernandez a close second.
Josh Vernier, our Royals insider, unexpected call in. We appreciate it, man. We'll check in with you a little bit later on this week.
Thanks for letting me come on, guys. Thank you.
There you go. That's Josh Vernier, our Royals insider. Wanted to talk more about Nicky Lopez being traded to the Atlanta Braves.
I would say I still have some of the same grievances, I would say. It's not like I've just instantly changed back. I would say the strongest point Vern makes in favor of it is I have asked them, and everyone has asked them to be transactional. And sometimes transactional is flipping your piece that you're not doing anything with for their piece that they're not doing anything with. And let's see if either thing does something for someone else, right? Because you're not asking for that much. Based on what you got, you're not asking for that much out of Hearn to be a player that has some value for you or does something for you over the next couple of years. And if they think they can do more with Hearn than they think they can do with Nicky Lopez. Like he said, it's a beating heart. And maybe it's not a ton, right? Maybe they're getting Nicky in 60 games. Maybe they think they can get Hearn in for 50 relief appearances, which they find or deem more valuable than the other. Then I guess I'll wait and see. I told you earlier, I'm not so to the point that I just will give this thing no chance at all to succeed. On like the initial reaction is I hate it, right? Because I'm like, God, I didn't feel like I was overvaluing Nicky Lopez. But I guess at the same time, maybe I was. If I thought there was still something to be garnered, if you went young enough or low enough on a depth chart, that there might be something more out of him than a 28-year-old reliever that hasn't really made it. But it just, and I was worried that it meant that they thought that they were going to compete next year, or that they wanted a kind of player like that to compete next year versus just swapping out parts that aren't working for either team and seeing if they work for you.
Again, we'll have Vern on a little bit later on his normal time on Wednesday. Also expected to have the general manager of the Royals, J.J. Picollo, join us later this week. The trade deadline, 5 o'clock tomorrow. I did want to real quickly pass on another update on the injury front out in Denver before we get back to some baseball, because I know we've been wanting to talk about someone who is looking more like a star in a Royals uniform, Cody. But an update from Tim Patrick out in Denver. Ian Rappaport mentioning now signs pointing towards a Achilles injury for Tim Patrick, which would be another devastating injury to the young wide receiver. Last year, he had the ACL injury. I mean, he's in danger of missing now 2 straight seasons. And an Achilles, we know the recovery there is a whole different ballgame compared to even an ACL. So never want to see anything like that. But training camp, you got to somehow just get through healthy. That's the number one goal, honestly, at this point for most teams around the league. And unfortunately, Tim Patrick looks like that's not going to be the case.
No. Yeah, and the Broncos need every weapon they can have if they're going to compete, but they're never winning this division. Their question is if they were going to finish 3rd or 4th, right? Yep. I mean, I guess you think they had a chance to finish 2nd place.
You and I have a bet that they won't finish. You and I have a bet that they will not finish last. I don't like the Tim Patrick injury for that, but
no, I don't want to root for someone's injury, but obviously anybody who goes down for Denver helps my odds of that. Before we made the bet, but it just all goes back to the whole grievance with Rodgers and all of his clapback. Sean Payton got asked about it today, and this always drives me nuts about anybody who starts trash and then doesn't want to finish it. Someone had been like, "Hey, do you have any feelings about what Aaron Rodgers said?" "No, it's finished." Like, you started it.
Yeah, but that's a PR play now. I mean, he's not going to keep it going. There's no point to keep it going.
I wish you would.
I mean, yes, for our sake and content. But if you're Sean Payton, you need to kind of drop it and move on. I don't think there's you already last week said, "Hey, I regret it." You can't now open it back up after then trying to shut it down last week. I mean, he has to act like it's over. I mean, what else is he supposed to say? Aaron Rodgers made his comments. If he goes back, what is he going to start talking crap on Aaron Rodgers? No, he's got to move on and now actually try to focus.
Well, I mean, yeah, but I just wanted the beef to continue. That's all.
Well, yeah. I mean, selfishly, you did. So did I.
Why wouldn't I want that? Look, we were talking about the Royals trade, and whether you hate it, which I think 90% of people do, or the 10% of people who, still want to have faith in it. And you and I are kind of stuck in the middle where I am willing to see this string played out, and I still have faith in J.J. Picollo before I am going to give up on the idea that he's heading in a direction where he should. But there's one player for the Royals that I think you have to admit, since the All-Star break, since the beginning of July, I think if you go back into June a little bit, is actually starting to look like a star. What a weekend for Bobby Witt Jr., huh? Guy hits a walk-off grand slam, gets a homer in the next game. Like, talent just skyrocketing off the top. It just, for the first time maybe ever, you were like in a moment, like a full series where you're like, man, Bobby Witt Jr. still has it. That kid has got special amounts of talent.
Yeah, no, I mean, seeing what he did this weekend, it kind of renews your hope of what he can be where we were already all at prior to the last season or so, going back to when we were down and watching him in minor league ball and everybody talking about being a superstar. You saw glimpses of that for this weekend, and there is reason to be optimistic about it. You know where I kind of stand on the whole superstar aspect of his career, which, by the way, that's not something that he asked to be labeled. That's just what we and everybody else and evaluators labeled him as a potential superstar and the hope that everybody wanted. That kind of play, that's what superstars do. And, I still think most likely he's someone that's going to be a star in this league that's, probably a 4 or 5-time All-Star, which is a hell of a career. A hell of a career. I don't think he's going to be one of the 20 best players in baseball consistently. I don't think they have a Acuna or a Juan Soto or somebody like that, a superstar. But I absolutely think he can be a star for this organization. And this past weekend, obviously, was more of a type of play that superstars would make. So I get why you want to leave that door cracked open. I hope more than anything, out of all the things we've said on the show recently, I would love to be wrong about saying that he can't be a superstar, that we got to put that to rest. I would love to be wrong on that. I still think he's going to just be an unbelievable player for this organization. But we still, to me, have to shift where we were at maybe 2 years ago.
Maybe. I mean, I've told you because I think if you look at the side-by-side, like Julio Rodriguez was better last year. And, again, I'm not making that argument. But, I don't think anybody would rule out that Julio Rodriguez could be an MLB star. And to your point, and in fairness, he has proven it at least for one full calendar year, some real star quality play. But now, if you look in year 2, they're both going to be that. And for me, if I'm not going to rule it out for Julio Rodriguez, I'm not going to rule it out for Bobby Wood Jr. yet. It's harder for Bobby to get there because you haven't seen the full realization of what we're talking about. I'm just excited that for the first time, it seems like in a very long time, I mean, probably, God, since he first got called up, like, you see it again.
Yeah,
you know?
I get it.
Like, you're like, okay, I see it with you again. So for the last, I'll give you the last 2 months. All of June, all of July, Gold. That way you're not feeling like I'm nitpicking a sample size because it could look even better than this. But in his last 2 months in baseball, he's hitting .303 with a .341 on base, a .846 OPS, 8 homers, 11 ribbies, which should be higher. He's striking out way less. He's got stolen bases. He's got 10 doubles. Like, if you extrapolate that over the course of a season, it's like he's a 35 home run guy with 40 doubles who's hitting 300. And that's star-level play. I'm hoping that this continues, obviously, and I'm not just, like, penciling it in. But I think you're like, right now when I watch Bobby Wood Jr. play, I'm like, yep, he's way better than everybody. And we can all
that's
see
true.
it.
That's true. I mean, I don't know. That hasn't changed. I mean, just from a sheer talent perspective, that's always been the case.
He has a special amount of talent.
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty evident watching him play. I mean, it's hard not for him to stand out. It's just about being consistent. And I know you were just extrapolating out. My thing I always get frustrated with that is just that we can extrapolate out numbers, but I don't want to have to do that. I want to I need to see it more than 2 months and say, well, he's on it for 2 months. He's done this. So if we said he did it for 5 months, he'd be this. Well, I need to see it for 5 months then. You know what I mean? Like that's, you can say it's not fair, but that's just
that
how
is fair.
That's how I'm going to judge it.
Like if he finishes the last 2 months of this season still hitting 300 with a 350 on base percentage the rest of the way, we're going to have very high expectations going into next year for Bobby Wood Jr.
Look, we all know. I mean, he has to be that type of player for them to any time in the next 2 or 3 years to be an actual competitive team. He has to be, maybe other than starting pitching, the biggest part of that.
Just so you know, that was a 50-game stretch. So if you just tripled it, Gold, you said he played in 150 games, not 162, which we know he does. That would make him a 30-double, 9-triple, 24 home run, 99 RBI guy with 33 walks and slightly less than 100 strikeouts.
No,
so,
I mean, that's big.
I mean, that's a hell of a damn year. But you're right. Let's see some more games before we lose our minds. But, God, it was fun. That walk-off grand slams are just fun. That's all it is. They're just fun.
Well, and, it's
I don't care about it.
It's a joke that it's July 31st, but they actually won 3 games in a row, Cody. It's happened. It has happened this year, finally. Took till July 31st.
For us to feel that way?
They did win 3 in a row.
I know. It was big. Let's go for 4 in a row. Did they play tonight or are they on tomorrow?
That's a great question. I should know that.
I'm very now. Wait, come on. You don't have to have an entire 162 game schedule memorized. I'm very day to day.
The Mets, Greinke on the bump.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Tomorrow, by the way, not today. To answer your question, tomorrow, not today.
Oh, okay. The very disappointing Mets.
Yeah.
You think the Royals are disappointing. Try being a Mets fan now.
I get it because of their expectations and the amount of money they spent, but also they're still 5 games under 500. I'd still take that, 5 games under 500.
Well, yeah. But you know how mad I'd be at the Royals if they spent $500 million or like $2.4 billion in an offseason and still stunk?
Oh, I know.
I would be so frustrated.
But at least, they
more competitive than the Royals,
to say the least.
No one's arguing that.
To say the least.
At least
I will say, I was at the White Sox-Guardians game on Saturday, and so I hadn't been to that ballpark before. When we talk about the Royals' future stadium and all this kind of stuff, I hope they don't make the same mistake they made at that stadium. So, to me, if you're going to build a brand new stadium, I should be able to, from the lower level, see the score on the scoreboard from anywhere where I'm at.
Yeah.
As long as I'm out in the outfield or something, obviously.
Why?
Well, yeah, exactly. Obviously, I would think. I was down the first baseline, halfway to the foul pole. Maybe I think we were 8th row, 9th row.
Okay.
And center field, beautiful scoreboard. Other than that, I actually really like the stadium. Concessions are wide. It's very nice. But there's a raised platform and this tiny pillar. I could not see the score of the game from my seat. Now, fortunately, they've realized this. There's now a ribbon board behind home plate up above that you can look back at. Now, I don't know. I think that's for the outfield people.
Probably, yeah.
But I had to use that to see the score of the damn game. We didn't show up till the 2nd or 3rd inning. We were running late because of the parking scam. So we didn't see that. So they already had scored. The White Sox were in control and won that game 7-1 or something like that. But if you're going to have a stadium, I got to be able to see that from the lower level. I should see the score of the game. Come on.
I mean, from any part. I thought we all just agreed that we're just putting bigger TVs in all of these things.
And it's a pretty
Every
big screen.
renovation to every stadium, Arrowhead and Kauffman and any other stadium in the United States, includes a bigger screen or a new screen or a different screen in a different spot. I thought we all just kind of agreed to that.
I thought so, too. Other than that, the park's great. Other than that, it was a great setting. You walk into that the concourse, the smell of grilled onions and everything, it's just a different vibe in there versus a concourse in Kansas City. It just is.
That's what makes it feel so nice that they've got the local barbecue joints at the K now. That feels right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, which I still can't get over the huge platter we got the last time we were out at Kauffman from our friends over at Scott's Kitchen. That platter was ridiculous. Brought that thing up to the press box. Vern got a little bit of that, too. Good times.
I mean, when Chef Jay Barbecue gave us some, too, right?
Mm-hmm.
We're getting hooked up all over the place.
By the way,
Thank you for all the free barbecue.
Cody's up at training camp. We're in 2 different spots today due to the weather and everything. And our Chiefs training camp coverage on 610 brought to you by Twin Peaks. Eats, drink, scenic views. Earlier, we both did have a chance to catch up with starting corner Trent McDuffie. You'll hear that conversation coming up next. He told us the wide receiver that he's enjoying watching the most.
Cody and Gold on 610 Sports Radio, brought to you by Gann Asphalt and Concrete.
You're clear, Cody.
Asphalt, concrete, and parking lot maintenance. Gann Asphalt
Yes, sir.
and Concrete. One contractor, all things parking lot. Trusted in Kansas City since 1994. Online at GANNasphalt.com.
What does it mean to be the official information technology provider for the Chiefs? Everything. Technology Group Solutions makes sure everything runs flawlessly for the millions of fans that attend games and the hundreds of millions of fans that comprise Chiefs Kingdom around the world. Technology Group Solutions can deploy that same dedication, problem solving, and incredible service to ensure your business runs smoothly all day, every day, just like your Chiefs. Technology Group Solutions, powering Chiefs Kingdom and ready to do the same for you.
Tailgates and turkey? Yes, please. This season, score a touchdown with U.S. soy-fed turkey. Versatile, tasty, and truly different, turkey is always a winner. You can get all the recipes and register for a chance to win the ultimate prize pack at tailgatewithturkey.com. You'll be the pride of the parking lot.
Hey, it's Carrington Harrison from The Drive here. Do you remember how cold it got this winter? Well, it was a chilly one. And if you notice the cold air pouring through those old leaky windows, well, guess what? When it gets hot this summer, the exact opposite is going to happen. All that cool air is going to escape through those leaky windows, and that hot air is going to come in. So I'm telling you right now to replace those old windows and keep your house cool this summer with the official window of the Kansas City Chiefs over at Window World. Their windows are one of 2 windows with the Good Housekeeping seal of approval, a lifetime warranty that covers all parts, glass breakage, and labor. And right now, Window World is offering 18 months, same as cash financing with approved credit. So pick up the phone right now and call this number for a free home estimate, 816-799-0820. And they can show you how they are simply the best for less. Remember this phone number, 816-799-0820. Or check out the website, windowworld.com.
Hey, this is Rex with KC Real Estate Buyers, and I buy houses for cash. If you own a property in the Kansas City or surrounding area and want to sell it fast and at a fair price, grab a pencil. I'm going to give you a very important phone number in 40 seconds. I'm a private real estate investor. I live right here in KC, and I can pay cash and close on your timeline, even in as little as 3 days. Here at KC Real Estate Buyers, we are improving Kansas City one house at a time. I buy inherited houses, vacant houses, foreclosure houses, behind-in-payment houses, my tenant won't pay the rent houses, and properties that need complete rehabs. Do you own a house that's trashed and needs thousands of dollars in repairs? Great. If you own a house and want to sell it fast, call me at this number, 816-330-6000. That's 816-330-6000. Or go to rexbuyskc.com. That's rexbuyskc.com. And I look forward to working with you.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same, but is 95% cheaper? And you can get it online? Just go to 4hims.com/radio. Through Hims, you'll get a free medical consultation, discreet shipping if prescribed, a 100% online process, and trusted generic alternatives to the name brands to treat ED at up to 95% off. That's right, the same active ingredient as the brand name for 95% less. It's the same ED medication, still prescribed by a licensed medical provider, but with zero copay, no expensive appointments, and no awkward face-to-face conversations. To start your free online visit, you need to go to this exclusive address, 4hims.com/radio. That's 4hims.com/radio for your free online visit. FORHIMS.com/RADIO.
Join Mark Patrick Seminars and lose the weight or stop smoking guaranteed for only $49.99. Seminar Wednesday, August 9th, Wingate Hotel in Kansas City. Weight loss 5:30 p.m. Stop smoking seminar 8 p.m. Sign up at markpatrickseminars.com.
To your left, our new exhibit, Monarchs of Springfield. And right here, we have our empty tour guide stand.
The last time Bryn hired someone is ancient history.
Sir, excuse me, that's not part of the exhibit.
They need tour guides who know the museum ropes.
Hey, kid, you like wearing khakis? I got a job for you.
Indeed can help them hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. You can schedule and conduct virtual interviews all from your employer dashboard. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
When you open your hopper, you don't fill it with just any hardwood pellets, right? You fill it with Kingsford 100% hardwood blend pellets. Made right here in the USA with North American ingredients and a 100% natural hardwood blend, Kingsford pellets can be used on any pellet grill and add delicious smoky flavor to any meal. Kingsford's the name you trust for the low and slow cooking you crave. So look for Kingsford 100% hardwood blend pellets. Kingsford.com.
For the ones who work hard to ensure their crew can always go the extra mile, and the ones who get in early so everyone can go home on time, there's Grainger, offering professional-grade supplies backed by product experts so you can quickly and easily find what you need. Plus, you can count on access to a committed team ready to go the extra mile for you. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
If you've had painful kidney stones, you know you don't want more. Moonstone Stone Stopper is a simple solution that works. Created and recommended by top kidney stone doctors, Stone Stopper is an alkali citrate formula scientifically proven to prevent crystallization. Stone Stopper's patented formula is gentle on the stomach and is available in easy-to-swallow capsules, gummies, and powder drinks that make hydration delicious. Stone Stopper is available at participating Walmart and Walgreens stores. Look for the red stop sign on the bottom shelf of the vitamin aisle. For more information or to find a store near you, go to stonestopper.com.
The 610 Sports Radio phone line is brought to you by Onder Law Injury Lawyers. Visit getjim.com.
Chiefs coverage is brought to you by Renner Garage Door. Forward and back, RENNER.
Renner Garage Doors, servicing and installing garage doors in KC for over 60 years. Family owned and top rated. Residential, commercial, service, and repairs. RENNER, forward and back. Renner, the company that does garage doors. RennerDoor.com.
What's trending?
All right, let's check in on the hot topics trending.
Number one on what's trending, MLB trade deadline tomorrow, 5 o'clock. We'll see if the Royals make another move. We know the move they made yesterday, as we've been talking about the last hour. Nicky Lopez sent to the Atlanta Braves for a 28-year-old pitcher in Taylor Hearn. And we will get back into that tomorrow, I'm sure, as the trade deadline rumors heat up. But right now, the latest is some noise around what the Mets potentially could do with Verlander. Maybe he returns to the Astros. Max Scherzer already traded from the Mets over the weekend to the Texas Rangers, who are so far all in, it's not even funny. I don't know if you can be any more all in than the Texas Rangers right now. MLB.com lists the top trade chip, Cody, for each team. I know Vern said it. He thinks it's Ryan Yarbrough. MLB.com says it's Scott Barlow right now, entering his third and final year of arbitration this offseason. But I still think, Scott Barlow is someone you got to move before tomorrow night.
Yeah, I still think that the bigger moves are probably coming this offseason. If they are to trade one of these young bats or one of these young pitchers, that's probably likely to come later. But yeah, Barlow and Yarbrough, those are two of the big ones to watch. I think Carlos Hernandez, I don't think it's an accident goal they put him in for the save last night, okay? Yeah. I think they're trying to highlight to teams that this is a guy who pumps it 99 miles an hour, and you might have a back-end bullpen guy if you give him an opportunity. Wanted to show what he could do in the save spot last night. Next up on What's Trending, the new quarterback series next year, season 2 of Netflix. We've heard a lot of people turning it down. Well, according to Peter King, Joe Burrow will be one of the featured quarterbacks on the upcoming series. How excited are you to see what Joe Burrow has to offer?
Well, now, I mean, the injury part makes it a little bit more intriguing, too. How do they handle that? How do they handle following him with the calf strain right now and how that impacts his season? But he's the second-best quarterback in football. And I want, we kind of saw the behind-the-scenes for Mahomes, and we had a good idea. We don't cover Cincinnati, so I do want to learn a little bit more about him behind the scenes and how he goes about his business and some things in the Cincinnati organization. So, yeah, I think it's big that they got him, and now we'll see who one of the other quarterbacks are. We know there's been about 8 QBs that have turned it down.
Yeah, no, that is kind of surprising, but also that's probably going to be the battle they do. That's why I don't think this series is going to be running 10 years from now, right? It's not going to be Hard Knocks 10 years from now. Mahomes, his production company, they'll have a run, and then they'll do an offshoot series called Wide Receiver. And then it'll be, Tyreek and, well, maybe not Tyreek. Oh,
gosh.
Did you see he had, oh, man, do we have to talk about it again tomorrow? He keeps saying stuff on his podcast, man. Do we got to bring it up every time or no? Or what's
we don't have to. We don't have to.
But we might.
It needed to be said, but doesn't have to be talked about, Stuff like that.
He's so sour, dude. Why go full heel,
I think the Hard Knocks episode starts for the Jets the 3rd, so here in a couple days, and then preseason football Thursday, Jets and Browns. Next up on What's Trending, Colts running back Zach Moss suffered a broken arm at practice today, expected to miss 6 weeks. Significant because even if it's only 2 games, we know Jonathan Taylor right now requesting a trade out of Indy. The Colts maybe could put him on a non-football injury list. Things are a mess, and now your number 2 back is hurt. It'll be interesting to see if another running back is signed there in Indy because of this, because otherwise it does give maybe a little more leverage to Jonathan Taylor. Again, he wants a new deal. The Colts are saying, hey, man, we're not doing that right now. And I get the frustration on both ends. To me, if I'm the Colts, he's coming off an injury. Why would I give him an extension right this second? I don't have a problem with it from either end, but Jim Irsay's comments, though, are ridiculous. Should stay out of it a little bit more than he is publicly, talking about one of his players that obviously is loved by fans in your city.
Doing an absolutely horrible job.
And the other injury today is Tim Patrick out in Denver with the Broncos. He had a non-contact injury, was carted off. Early reports, not good, saying it's an Achilles injury, and if that's the case, he could be out for a 2nd straight season with back-to-back season-ending injuries.
Lastly on What's Trending, Paul Rubens, best known for portraying Pee Wee Herman in Pee Wee's Playhouse or Pee Wee's Big Adventure. He passed away at the age of 70 after a 6-year battle with cancer, according to statements he had made. Like he sent out a statement that said he apologized for keeping this a secret for all those years and appreciated the people supporting him. So obviously he knew the end was near, or that when it would be, he would want to say something. Those statements out now. Even though Alex hasn't seen that much Pee Wee Herman, it turns out. We don't think he's seen Big Adventure. We did take your suggestions on the random question earlier of the favorite child theme songs. Captain Planet got mentioned a bunch in there, by the way. I guess real quick, since that's what's trending here on Cody and Gold, JT, before we play our interview with Trent McDuffie, were you able to secure the Gummy Bears theme song?
I actually did. I did indeed.
No, we got to hear that real quick, don't we?
Let me hear it. You can go ahead and play a little bit of it if you want.
All right, hold on. It's only like a minute long.
It is only a minute long. I did get it.
It's a cartoon theme song.
Let's get it rolling.
What year was this?
It says 9 years ago, but it's got to be longer than that.
Well, no, it's like the early 90s.
All right, here you go. It's from Disney.
Courageous and caring, faithful and friendly, with stories to share. All through the forest they sing out in chorus, marching along as their song fills the air. Gummy bears bouncing here and there and everywhere. High adventure that's beyond compare. They are the gummy bears.
All right, that's good.
Yeah, take that off. What the hell?
What? It is the most produced piece of music for a kids show ever, I think. It gets even more intense than that. There's a key
Alex,
change.
I'm seeing your face because we're in the studio together.
Yeah.
If you were seeing the video I am watching right now of this theme song, oh man, you would be cracking up. It is. It's a doozy.
Heck, I've never heard that.
It came out in
before.
1985. It aired until 1991.
Oh, well, that's why I wasn't born until the year it ended. That's why I've never heard
I wasn't
of that.
born till 2000.
Yeah, well, that's,
2000?
Yeah, yeah, jeez. My goodness.
I don't know. That's so far after me.
Someone says that intro, it sounds like if Gold could sing, that's what they think it would sound like. Okay.
That's what they think it would sound like.
I'll take it. I'll take it.
Play some more cartoon theme songs tomorrow.
That's what's trending.
Someone said, Cody, how do you have a wife and kids? I don't know.
Oh,
That's a miracle sometimes. Everybody can find love, you know? Text line.
Hope for everybody is what you're saying.
Yeah, that's what
Is
I'm
you're saying.
Yep.
Oh, man. We continue, though, with our Chiefs training camp coverage. Cody's up in St. Joe. He's live in the Ag Power broadcast tent. Score big this year with your home team, John Deere. Deal.
Pack those